Make sure this is up and running. Welcome into the stream, y'all. Welcome in. Hope y'all are doing amazing. Rax Too Fast, welcome into the stream. I appreciate you being here. Zo Mafia, appreciate you hopping in. Prince is in the building. How are y'all feeling today? Welcome into the stream. Lisa's in the building. Lenny, what's up? Welcome in, y'all. If y'all are coming in for the first time, let me know where you are joining from. If you're joining from the first time, if you make music, let me know the kind of music that you make, how long you've been making it. We'd love to chat for a little bit, and then we'll get into some music here in just a few minutes. Is it Tlusty? Am I saying that correctly? Hope I am. Sam, welcome in. I appreciate you hopping in. How y'all feeling today? Welcome in, y'all. If y'all are over on TikTok as well, do me a huge favor. Tap the screen. Make sure y'all are tapping the screen. Share out the live with a few people. Don't forget to send your heart me for the day. It does really help out the live stream if you do so. And we'll get rolling with some consultations and with some music here in just a little bit. Let me just make sure I'm caught up over here and that I am making sure everything is updated. Braden is in the building. What's up, Braden? Welcome into the stream. I hope y'all are doing fantastic today. Y'all let me know where you're joining from. Let me know if you make music, the kind of music that you make. I appreciate y'all tapping in today. Let me get a couple things organized and refreshed here before we get going. Muska's in the building. Welcome in. Jesus, I appreciate you tapping into the stream today. Hope you're doing absolutely fantastic. Give me a moment, y'all, while I I refresh a couple things here on my end. Hope y'all are doing amazing. Absolutely amazing today. And let me make sure I'm caught up over here as well. Ryan's in the building. What's up, Ryan? Welcome in. Excuse me. Welcome in, welcome in. Thank y'all so much for joining the stream. Appreciate y'all being here. Make sure y'all are tapping the screen. Share out the live with a few people. Don't forget to send your heart me for the day. It does really help out. I'll explain the whole structure of the live stream here in just a couple of minutes. We'll get some things rolling. Time Mind is in the building. Time Mind, it's good to see you, brother. Hope you're doing amazing. Raw is in the building as well. Welcome in, y'all. Welcome in, welcome in. We are just kicking things off. We are just getting things rolling. Let's see. Tammy's in the building. Kaza, welcome in. Is it Jomari? Am I saying that correct? Am I saying that correctly? Thank you for tapping in. Contes, welcome in. I appreciate you being here. Actually, let me update this over on the other platforms really quick as well. I really appreciate y'all tapping in. Billy's in the building. What's up, Billy? Let's see. Yeah, I gotta make sure this doesn't say close. One moment, y'all. One moment. Y'all, thank y'all so much for joining today. I really appreciate you being here. Ash is in the building. Welcome in, Ash. I appreciate you joining the stream. Wubsy is in the building. What's up, Wubsy? I hope the family is doing all right. RJ's is in the building as well. Wubsy, DJ producer. It's so good to see you, brother. Hope you're doing all right today. Miyoki, welcome in. James, welcome in. Jaso's in the building. Welcome in, Jaso. We just put out our first album. Congrats! That's amazing. When? I'm sorry. I'm catching up on some comments and questions here really quick as some people are coming in. Do you like underground music? 100%. That's what this live is all about. Hey, Miyoki, thank you so much for hopping in. I hope you're doing fantastic today. Fat John, welcome in as well. It's 1,000 monthly on Spotify. Let's go, Jaso. Let's go. Zakai, welcome in. Alone in California. I appreciate you being here. Shout out to Pop Punk. Let's get it. I've been trying to make it big. Jay Mitch, welcome in. Sorry, I'm catching up, y'all. Check out my band, Primal Hominid. We're a death metal band from OKC. Let's go. Chase Samples is in the building. What's up, Chase Samples? Y'all keep tapping the screen. Share out the live with a few people. Don't forget to send your harmony. Give me just like 2 minutes, and I'll explain the live stream. I'll give my spiel to let everybody know what is going on as far as what this whole entire structure is here as far as track talk goes. So far, you got 27,000 on Spotify. What do you mean, J Mitch? 810 is in the building. 810, I hope you're doing fantastic today, man. Thank you so much for joining. Welcome in, y'all. Keep tapping. Keep tapping. We're gonna listen to a handful of songs today. You said you, so I didn't know who you were talking to unless you meant to say I. Then that's awesome and fantastic, and congrats to you. Yeah, I got you, 810. We just hopped on, man. Line is open, wide open. Give me just 2 minutes, y'all. Give me just 2 minutes and I will explain the live stream. I'll let you know where to go. I will let you know kind of what's going on here. I just updated everything on the other platforms, including the line order and minimums. Those are all set up right now. I'm going to do about 5 songs today. We're going to do about 5 songs today, 5 or 6 songs. Let me get a couple things updated here. Turn down my brightness. It's going to blind me over here. And let's see. No, you're totally good. I was like, wait, like what happened? I thought someone like checked my monthlies. I was like, dude, I don't even promote my music. I was like, how is it? I don't even promote what I do. I was like, how is it possibly there? That'd be fantastic. K Beats is in the building. What's up, K Beats? It's good to see you, brother. Hope you're doing amazing. All right, give me 2 seconds, y'all, and then I'll explain the whole. What's up, Nova? Good to see you as well. Good to see you as well, Nova. Let me get you up there. I already got you on the board, Nova. You got 15. You ready to go? I added the 5 after the last time as well. Torvik makes the best music you've ever heard. I would never claim that. I would never in a million years claim that. But Wubsy, I do appreciate you saying that so much. That is incredibly kind of you to say. That is very, very, very generous of you for sure. Eva, welcome in. Kenny, I appreciate you being here. Y'all keep tapping. Keep tapping the screen. Share out the live with a few people. Don't forget to send your heart me. It does really help out the live stream. Libby, I appreciate the heart me. Y'all send in your heart me. It really does help out as far as getting the stream more exposure and getting the ball rolling here on the different platforms that we're on. Let's get into the live stream. Let's get into the live stream, and I'll update the line here in a moment, and I'll get everything moving for us. But let me go ahead and give my spiel before we get into it. I got my little 5-minute spiel before we get into the music. We start diving into y'all's consultations and stuff like that. For those of you who have never been here before, welcome to Track Talk. Welcome to the family. I appreciate y'all being here so much. Lucky, it's good to see you. I hope you're doing amazing. Welcome to the stream. Hannah, I appreciate you being here as well. If you've never been here before, welcome to Track Talk. Welcome to the family. Welcome to the live stream. What we do here at Track Talk are 20 to 30-minute multiple listen, deep dive consultations on the structure of your music. We're going to dive deep into the mix and master, production elements, sound design, lyric and song structure, so on and so on. We're going to spend 20 to 30 minutes listening to your song multiple times to get into the nuances of what you're doing, both creatively and practically within the structure of your music. Deep, Wubsy, you know how it is. We are going to get really deep into the structure of your music. This is not a quick review. There is no trash or pass. There's no ratings. There's no polls. This is a long-form, deep dive analysis on what you're doing within the structure of your music. I am not here to roast you. I'm not here to trash you. I'm not here to tear you down. I'm also not here to hype you up. I'm not here to give you exposure. If that happens, if TikTok and Twitch and YouTube are doing their thing and they pop off for any number of reasons and you get exposure and you get fans of your music, beautiful. I'm so happy that happened. It is not in any way my priority or the way that I have structured this live stream. The goal is to give value, to give professional, specific, and actionable feedback on the structure of your music. For those of you who don't know, my name is Torvik. I am a full-time audio engineer, producer, and session musician. That is what I do for a living. I've done that for the last 14 plus years. I'm also a classically trained musician. So that is kind of the focus of this live stream and the perspective of this live stream and kind of the way that it works, the way that it functions. If you would like to submit your music for, Tori can tell you if your silent spaces in your song need to be inverted. That's a fact. That's a fact, Wamsi. If y'all would like to submit your music, admin for creatives, thank you for the heart me. Nova, thank you for the rose. I appreciate y'all so much. If you would like to submit your music for a consultation, whether you're a producer, you're an artist, you're a session musician, you're an engineer, you're a vocalist, you're a songwriter, whatever it may be. If you would like to submit your music for a 20 to 30 minute multiple listen consultation, go to my profile, click on the link, and then just read through and follow all of the details there. You will see a submission tab. Just click on that, read through, and follow all of the details. We'll get you up on the board, ready to go. Ray Kelsey, thank you for the follow. I appreciate that a lot. If you are on the purple app that we are live on right now, you can type !submit right there in the chat. If you're on the red app, we're live there right now. You can go to the description for the live stream and you'll see it there. Derek Bennet, I see you over there, brother. Thank you so much for tapping in. I appreciate it. And I think I have a submission from you as well. Let me get that updated here in just a couple moments here in a second. Tammy, thank you so much for hopping in. I appreciate you being here. I'll update the line here in like 2 minutes. Let me just see. Let me get a couple things rolling here. But once again, if you would like to submit, for those of you who are on TikTok, if you want to submit, go to my profile, click on the link, read through and follow the details. Just keep in mind that this is not a quick review. This is not really even a live music review. It is not a trash or pass. There's no rating. I'm not going to rate your song. There's no polls. We're not dropping up polls in the chat. This is a 30-minute long, 20 to 30-minute long, multiple listen, deep dive into the structure of your music. So if that's what would be interesting to you, that is what would be helpful to you, would be valuable to you. That is the structure of this live stream. It has been for the last almost 3.5 years. They're long, they're detailed. and we're gonna dive into it. Okay, give me just a second here to update, and then we're gonna go straight into the music. We are only gonna be on for about 5 or 6 songs today, so keep that in mind. We're gonna be short and sweet. I'll be closing the line in a fairly concise fashion. We'll see. That's always my goal. So let me get a couple things updated. A10, I got you. I appreciate you so much. Derek Bennet, I got you. I appreciate you so much. Let me get y'all up on the board. Nova, I already have you up there. So let's get Derek up here. I appreciate y'all so much. Thank y'all so much for tapping in today. Aiton, I got you. Appreciate you so much, brother. Let me get you right there. Let me get y'all in the right order. And then I do believe, I think this is Tammy, because I think Tammy just said they sent in. So let me get this updated right there. Tammy, I see you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you a lot. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Tammy, you are up on the board. You're ready to go. Keep in mind really quick, almost forgot to mention, I've kind of breezed through a couple things. Almost forgot to mention, if you would like to see the line, the order, minimum, stuff like that, the line is always up on the other platforms that we are live on. So if you go to the red or purple app over on if you go to my link and you click on those other platforms, use your imaginations, the other live streaming platforms. If you go to those other platforms, you can always see the line order and the minimums. You'll see how many songs we have left. You'll see what the minimum to submit currently is. You'll see where you are in the line if you want to move forward or hang out, or do it another time or whatever, makes the most sense for you. You can always see it up on the other platforms as well. Also driving home. A10 and Derek are both driving home. We got a mobile stream here today. Okay, give me 2 seconds and make sure I get all of this updated. Let's see. I got to get everyone in the right order here really quick. And Derek, I got you, man. I appreciate you so much. Let me get this updated. I'll chop through the chat here for a second. Thank you for the 12 roaches. Jesus, it's because it's like roach season here in Texas. Thank you for the 12 roses. Stitch, I appreciate that. Roaches, Jesus, got roaches on my brain. They're so disgusting. Derek, I got you. Thank you so much for the push, man. I appreciate that a lot. I know you're on the road, so you're getting moving here. I got you updated really quick. Yeah, it's brutal. It's brutal. We had a storm here. Oh, yeah, fast on the roaches, Websy. We had a storm here, it was a couple days ago. We were out of the city for the day before that. So I had unplugged everything in the studio. I got the roaches on I unplugged everything in the studio. And then I was just moving the curtains to plug everything back in. There's another dead roast back there. It's like, Jesus, dude. Okay. We got Derek in the building. They're short on time, so we're going to go straight into it. So I'm not going to answer some questions right now. Hopefully we can get to some questions maybe a little bit later. But we got to jump straight into it because Derek's got to run and he's already on the road. So Derek Bennet, I've got the Dropbox. I know you're on the road, so let me know if there's anything in particular, with voice text or something, that you can let me know. Let me know kind of what's going on as far as what you were trying to get out of this particular song, some of your pain points are, if you just want to dig into production, structure, whatever it may be. No roaches around. We got to get the roaches away from the synths. It's not good. You don't see me switch to the red app. I got you, Nova. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate you. Okay, light is up. It's ready to go. Everything's in order. Once again, if you want to submit, if you're on TikTok profile, click on the link, read through for all the details, check the line on the other platforms. This is Derek Bennet music. They're over on the red app right now. Let's get into it. This is Rock of Ages. I don't think I've heard this one, but remind me. I get all the names mixed up. Scatterbrains, thanks for the follow. I get all the names mixed up, but I don't believe I've heard this one yet. Maybe I have, or maybe I've heard the verses drag and get boring. Production as well per normal. Okay, sounds good. Let's get into it.
Rock of Ages, cleft for me.
It did take over for a minute there.
Let me hide myself in thee.
What's up, Bloodline? Welcome in. E major.
Not the labors of my hands can fulfill that law's demand. Could my zeal no respite know? Could my tears forever flow? All for sin could not atone. Thou must save and thou alone.
Thank you for the follow, Hayden. Let's go, Derek.
Rock of Ages, cleft for me. Let me hide myself in me.
Thank you for the follow, Wild Square. I appreciate it.
The blood from that wounded side
Great voice. Squid, thank you for the follow. Higgs, thank you for the follow. Appreciate y'all. Great guitar tone.
See beyond our judgment, rock of ages, clap for me.
Nathan, thank you for the follow as well. Appreciate y'all so much. Cooler, welcome in.
Rock of ages, clap for me. Let me hide myself in me. Let the
It's true,
water in the
It's true. Tomorrow.
from that wounded side which flow. We have sinned the double cure. Save from wrath and make me pure. Save from wrath and make me pure.
Thank you for the harmony.
In my hand I bring. Send me to the cross I cling on. Rock of ages.
Thank you for the follow.
Make it come to thee for grace. Come and slow to thee for grace. Rock of ages.
I like this build up. It's a nice walk up from the 4 right there. Good increase of tension and energy here.
To the fountain fly. Watch me sing it all rock of ages.
I've been really waiting for this register of this vocal. It offers so much more power, so much more energy.
Rock of ages, clap for me. Rock of ages, God I sing.
Okay, key change. Okay, key change. Got like gnats in here.
Let me hide myself in me. Let the water in the blood from the wounded side which flow. Heals in the double cure. Save from wrath and make me
Just C major.
pure. Save from wrath and make me pure. Rock of ages,
This is Derek Bennet Music. They're over on YouTube right now. But this is their song.
myself in me. Let the water in the blood from the wounded
Great voice. Amazing voice.
heals in the double
Of course.
cure. Save from wrath and make me pure. Rock of ages, rock of ages.
Beautiful. I mean, the last, 2.5 minutes of dynamics here, you get so much more out of this song. I think kind of what you were already saying earlier is we need to get people there. The first part here, I think, is where we're going to have some, we're going to need to input some tension in order to build a little bit more anticipation. Come on, show some of. I also love, this is, essentially a key change from being an E major, transposing all the way up to a C major. So you have this really big jump to the, that's a nice little push. It really does offer so much more power behind that vocal though, which makes me so happy because I think part of the restriction and energy early on is the fact that there's a little bit of a lack of emoting and energy behind the vocal early on because of the register it's kind of forced into being in the early E major part of the song, walking up from the A. It is a little bit hard when they're stuck in that low register in order, it can be difficult when you're stuck in that low register to have more like tension and energy behind the vocal. There are some great high, vocal layers in there as well, but I think that and some of the production structure we can work on in the first half. Once you get into the like A, B, C sharp minor walk up, that vocal carries a lot more tension. The production feels more energetic. And then, of course, the key change, I think, is really dynamic as well. Let's get it. Y'all show some love. That is Derek Bennet Music. Derek Bennet Music, you're amazing, man. Let's dive into it from the top. I have some kind of production ideas early on of maybe some ways that we can open it up a little bit. So let's start from the top. This is Rock of Ages by Derek Bennet Music. They're over on YouTube right now, but of course, they can hop around to say what's up as well. If y'all want to submit your music, go to my profile, click on the link, and just read through and follow the steps right there. We'll get you up on the board. William Johnson, thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate it. But yeah, go to my profile, click on the link, read through and follow the steps there. For any reason, there's a regional issue issue, it is a regional issue. If for any reason the link does not pop up for you, it just doesn't exist there for you, then make sure that you go over to Instagram. It's the same name over there. Just look up Torvik Music. It's the same name everywhere. Look up Torvik Music. You'll see the link there. Tammy in, I think it's The Sick. Thank you for the follows. I really appreciate that. All right, let's run it from the top. Let's run it from the top. Shout out to Derek. That's the family right there.
Rock of ages, clap for me.
I appreciate y'all being here. Thanks for tapping in.
Let me
Let's dive into it.
hide myself in thee.
Okay, let's go through a couple small details here. Very, very small details. In my opinion, they have a decent amount of impact. One of the things I want you to be careful of here. So, dun, 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 dun. There's a couple notes in here. I want to say it's the G sharp and A. What's up, Doug Riley? Welcome in. So when you're building up, dun, dun, you build up here to the C sharp minor. When you go to the C sharp minor, I believe it's either this or backwards, but the vocal hits like a G sharp, but then the strings, it might be backwards, and then the strings hit an A. So you have all this tone right here. You have all this, energy in the chord, and then you have that happening at the same time, right? These two notes hitting at the same time between the high cello and the vocal, right? So one's hitting a G sharp, one is hitting the A. They both fit a very similar characteristic of like the natural vibrato, the natural frequency representation in the mix, and just kind of the natural like fundamental frequencies of those instruments, the vocal and the cello. Since they sit in such a similar spot, if they're doing like seconds like that, like really high tension seconds like that have a lot of dissonance to it and they sound kind of similar, it is going to make either one of those elements sound out of tune. I would make sure that once you have this vocal exactly where you want it, as far as like tuning and the melody structure that you actually want that vocal to perform, I'm assuming this is the way that you want it to be, I would go back into the cello, which is a VST, and correct to make sure that it's either like the harmony to that, like with a B over the top, or that it matches the G sharp or however you want to structure it. I would get that a little bit closer to the same thing happening there, just because this happening at the same time as moving to like either the B major or the C sharp minor gives you a lot of tension. Tension obviously sometimes can be good. In this case, it's a little bit abrasive. So I would smooth that out by either doing the harmony on I think it's the B, or matching on the G sharp. So it all seems really cohesive and really in line. Okay, let me back it up. I want to hear that note one more time, and then we'll move into kind of the next little section here. Right there. So there's like again, this is in the key of E here. So you have like the 7th to the A there. So you have the G sharp, but then the cello is doing the A over the top. What's up, Aiton? Welcome in. Rock there for a second with his vocal run, but just keep it in mind. Keep it in mind that there's a lot of tension right there that you can potentially smooth out just by changing what's being hit with the cello in the background.
Not the labors of my hands can fulfill that law's demand. Could my zeal no respite know? Could my tears forever flow? Offer sin could not atone.
Okay, so as far as energy of these early moments of the song, because now we're about a minute in. You're a little bit deeper into the song. We're moving into like a first verse straight into a second verse before it's like a double verse before the first hook kicks in, first chorus kicks in. Because you're doing a double verse here, essentially 20 to 30 seconds a piece, there's a lot of lower dynamic right here, which I don't mind. You can have some of this like lower energy right here, lower dynamics right here can offer obviously some vulnerability, some emotion, some intimacy. I would be very tasteful with how you introduce, what's up, Kay? It's good to see you, brother. How you introduce other rhythmic elements here, because everything is very like quarter note. right? This can get monotonous just because of actual pacing. Now, there's some syncopations and some ands in there, some eighths in there that come in on the percussion side, but barely. Though even those are really spread out. Everything is very spread out. In tandem to that, Aaron, welcome in. And in tandem to that, early on, the one pad that you have as a glue, you have your cellos that have a little bit of like modulation to them, but the one pad that you have is very strict, right? It's very rigid. There's really no movement to it. It's very much so, dun, right here, like, let me hear the intro. There is some chorusing, there is some like rub right there, but it's very almost like linear. It's very rigid. I would love like a slow moving modulation right there that makes that low pad that you have right there feel a little bit more alive, as opposed to it. There's a little bit of movement. You get a little bit of like, frequency rub right there, but it's very, very tight. So let me back it up. It makes it feel kind of rigid. If you had something that had a little bit of like movement to it, a little bit of like a slower modulation right there, I think it would make it feel a little bit more alive, less rigid. And then on the other side, having the cello being the VST, you have some good movement there, some automation there that I think will complement that. But I think part of it is like everything's slow, everything's spread out, and then some of those between like the piano being on the quarter notes, matching the chord, and that pad being so rigid, just holding that note there without a lot of movement and modulation, it does make this first like half of the song, first like minute of the song feel a bit monotonous, right? It just feels like it takes a little bit of time to just get some energy into the mix. Now, obviously, it doesn't mean you need like a drum solo in the intro or something like that, but if we can like some little like just like a little bit of tension, a little bit of energy from like a pizzicato or like a plucked synth in the background, or even some kind of percussive, beaded shaker or something that gives it a little bit of movement without increasing volume and energy too much, more so increasing anticipation for the next part of the song. This is so open. Yeah. Just a little bit of movement in there, or even just like open it up. Same thing here.
Not the labors of my hands can't fulfill that lost demand. Could my seal no respite, no.
Right, like a nice plucky, reverberated. Dorothy Justin, thank you for the follows. Just a little bit of snap, a little bit of punch right there. Just enough in the production structure to be like, okay, this is going somewhere, as opposed to it feeling like it's taking a really, really long time to build up some steam and build up some anticipation. Like you want to like drag people into the next section of the song and not feel like we're way too settled. Like it's like this is way too even. There's nothing like pulling me into the next section. It needs a recorder solo. That's true. Got some ideas now. Beautiful. Okay, let's move into the next little dynamic here. But yeah, to me that has to do with the pad. It has to do with like percussive elements. Now, percussive either being percussion or percussive synth and plucks and like short decay elements that are giving you a little bit of action, a little bit of ear candy, and some rhythmic structure to kind of pull you into the next section a little bit more.
Years forever flow. Off a sink, not a tone. It's sideways flow. Be of sin, the double cure.
I would love to hear like here, now that this is like your first elements of a hook, right? You have some harmonies that come in. Most of these strings build up here a little bit. So rhythmically, I would love to hear like a crazy, you have this massive, deep drum, like a filtered down snare, super, super dark cutoff. And I like what's happening there. I would love a relief from that every once in a while with like a really reverberated, like 5-6 second tail, Valhalla reverb, just slathered, like a tambourine or something like that. Every like 4 count.
Wrapped of ages left for me.
To match the snare on the 4.
Myself in me. Let the
That doesn't sound like a tambourine, but you get the idea. A little bit more of an accent. There's a little bit more energy, a little bit more of a step as far as like dynamics go here.
which flow. Be of sin, the double.
Hey, sounds good. Sounds
cure.
good. Nathan, I haven't seen anything yet, but I'll double check for you here in a second.
Safe from wrath and
Sometimes it takes a minute to come in.
Safe from wrath and make me pure. While I draw this
I'm also not opposed to na 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 na. It would also sound really, really nice to have some relief from the low register as well. I think that's one of the other reasons why the first, I would say almost 2 to 2.5 minutes of the song feels really, really restrained, is because you just don't get any movement in the vocal. It's very much within like 4 or 5 notes on a low register. You don't get a lot of energy behind it. You're relying really heavily on how many layers of strings you can bring in and how, massive the reverb is on the drums to get this really, really heavy. I would love to have some register range in that vocal before the ending hits. You still have a lot of stair stepping of dynamics to get there. You still have a lot of energy to build before you get to that outro right there. I think so. I mean, this is nice. It's nice. It's this B section. That's a low even for a male vocal. That's incredibly comfortable to sing. So there's none of that, emotion and pull coming from reaching for these lyrics, you know what I mean? And it's still in a fairly comfortable way, but there's no reaching, right? There's no emotional draw because it's so low and so comfortable in the B section right here. So I don't know exactly how to work that out with this melody because the melody drops here. So you're either going, the whole thing really, really high, which I don't think is necessary. This first part is fine. And there is a beautiful harmony there that can come out in the mix a little bit. I'm not worried about that.
Let me hide myself in me. Let the water and the blood
Here.
from that one inside which flow.
This is a little low. I don't mind it. Use your taste, kind of use what feels normal and natural to you. That to me, I don't mind that it's lower. I just do. I'm aware at the very least that we're spending a lot of time there. Because then you go from a da 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 to this verse. This is verse 3 technically. Same register, right? So, is it necessary to like jump the high octave on that first chorus? I don't know if it's necessary. I'm just at the very least aware that we're spending, in this case, like 2 to 2.5 minutes in that low register without any reprieve from it. So it can start to sound monotonous for that reason. How you figure that out is a little bit up to kind of how you want that vocal to sound right there, or how do you want to support it with the harmonies. Maybe those harmonies can be a little bit, obviously in the mix, a little bit more prominent, maybe a bit more of a stack on a high octave that's a falsetto that kind of supports it, or bringing in those female vocals earlier to support it. There's some things you could do there to, beef it up a little bit, something to keep in mind. Not that it's like right or wrong, but that is, there's a little bit of a restriction of the dynamics right there just because the vocal's in a low register for so long. I started singing into a harmonizer. It gave me a message. What the fuck am I supposed to do with this? He's like, what are you trying to do with this? All right, let's get into this this next section. Love this energy in the vocals here. Yeah, so it's 2 minutes and 38 seconds before we hit like this next register. At the choir in the first chorus. On the choir, do you have tracks for the choir, or is it a choir track? Is it like a multi-track? Like, do you have a bunch of different mics for the choir, or is it kind of all one file that is the choir? Let me know, because that might make a difference. Yeah, I mean, I think you can get a lot of it as one file they sent. Okay, so that gives you a little bit less control, but that's fine. That is what it is. I don't know if you want to go full choir early on. Definitely just when you're getting the mix on this, just make sure that those harmonies really hold their own, especially when you're doing the lower register. Make sure that the third harmony that's there, I hear it on the left side at least. I think it's doubled up. make sure that that does have some energy and prominence to it because that helps lift that vocal a little bit so it's not so low. Yeah, and then just kind of be aware of how that presents itself in the mix. Okay, I gotta close some things here. Boom, boom, boom. Let me see. Boom, boom, boom. Full. Okay, let's get into this. Let's get into this. The big section here. Hip-hop scene. And then same thing here. Keep this in mind as well. So here's your first chorus. Where we don't have any 4-hit. I would now the snares there, but it's super, really filtered out in the background. Definitely beyond just the strings and the acoustic guitars building up, I want an increase in percussion activity here. Like I do think like a shaker with a big tambourine with a ton of reverb on it here would give you a lot of extra energy right here that's kind of needed. This is another reason why, like if the hook doesn't pull you out enough of the verses, Soul Power, welcome in. If the hook doesn't pull you out of the verses enough dynamically, then it will just feel like the first like 3.5 minutes are the same dynamic. That's slow BPM, low dynamic, right? Low octave, low register, everything. So that's why I do want to make sure like the harmonies and some of the other like rhythmic elements that you have on your hooks do actually pull you out of that energy a little bit more so that it does feel like when you go back into the verse, you've earned that lower dynamic a little bit more. Same thing here. When you go back into this hook right here, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it.
See beyond our judgment, just let me hide myself in it.
Here. Like I want to have a little bit. You're about to go into like a full open rock breakdown after this. Open crashes and stuff like that. Big snare. Like this is where I want to get like a little bit more of like a typical like even like kick and like toms and stuff like that. Like I want to. You don't have to go. I wouldn't even go. Don't go cinematic necessarily. I would love to hear a little bit of those drums in there, so this doesn't feel too compartmentalized. Like here's this one section, and here's this other section, and they're kind of living their own space, but there's nothing to blend them. I think if you get like a shaker and a tambourine back in there, maybe like some snare hits with the kick a little bit stronger. Like I think you can kind of open up each of these sections a little bit more, and it'll make it feel like the song drags on less. It is a 4 minute and 48 second song, so it is a long song. I don't care. I like long songs. It is a long song, so we just have to be really intentional with like where and how we add those dynamics so that this doesn't feel monotonous in any sense, especially early on. And also that it doesn't just feel like we're going all out for the last 3 minutes of the song. You know what I mean? It's got to have some nuance to how we build and take away some of these elements here. But I definitely think the second chorus right here needs a little bit of that rhythmic structure. We can open up like the snare sound with a tambourine or something like that to make this feel a little bit more lively. Welcome in, y'all. Appreciate you being here. Any genre, absolutely any genre. Because then this opens up completely right here. And obviously, once this is mixed, the drum structure will come up ahead of the cinematic drums, which is obviously a bit more prominent now. All right, let's get to the key change. Literally, last night, literally any genre, any level of preparedness, any genre, any language, any style, all the way across the board, There's absolutely no bias here whatsoever. We listen to, enjoy, and break down in depth any style of music. So whether you do heavy, hardcore, metal, hip hop, R&B, drill, country, EDM, lo-fi, pop R&B, across the board, we're going to listen to everything. I don't mind the space there either. Like a 2-and 4-and, tambourine in the structure there too. I like the way that amplifies a little bit. What's the Ghost Motion? Welcome in. That gives you a little bit more edge, a little bit more energy there. So we need something in that sonic category early on to still have that. We can pull it away, we can bring it back in, stuff like that. But we do need some of that energy in the mix, and that's in the earlier sections of the song. Levi, so good to see you, man. Of course, of course, of course. Choir sounds great though. 100% Ghost Motion, 100%. Y'all, show some love, show some love, show some love. That is Derek Bennet Music. Derek Bennet Music, that's the family right there. Absolutely love what you're doing, man. It sounds really vibrant, really energetic. So this is all about dynamics and how we manipulate them with what is in the actual structure of the production, right? How and where we add a little tambourine and an open snare here, how much movement is in modulation is behind, the structure of like your pads and your low synths, like little things like that. But the actual like structure of the song, your dynamics on here, I think are really, really strong. We can just like polish and amplify them in a way that feels a bit more powerful, a little bit more interesting, especially in that first 2.5 minutes when we're in the low register of the vocal. I think that's going to be the most important part of this, is that first 2.5 minutes where we are in the same register of vocal until we jump and the drums come back in. That's a really hard part of the song to make sure we still get people to the really powerful climax of the song. That to me is just that's going to be really important for you to build dynamics there. Y'all show some love to the family. Derek Bennet Music, they're over on YouTube right now. Appreciate you so much, brother. Thank you so much for tapping in. If y'all would this is unmixed. This is still the producer demo. If y'all would like to submit your music for a consultation, these are 20 to 30 minutes a piece, multiple listen through the structure of your song. If you want to submit, go to my profile, click on the link, read through and follow the details, and then just we'll get you up on the board. You can check the line on the other platforms that we are live on right now, which you can find in my link as well. But yeah, go to my profile, click on the link, read through and follow the details, and you'll see everything you need right there. Okay, line is updated. Okay, Nathan, I don't have a submission from you yet, so just definitely double check. I'm going to double check over here really quick. Double check that you did follow all of the steps. I do have your email, but I want to make sure that I get you up on the board. Sounds good, Derek. I appreciate you so much. Probably need to wait until closer to release. Sounds good, Ghost. Sounds good, man. Do whatever makes the most sense to you, man. I'm excited anytime we get a chance to hear what you're working on. We got A10 in the music. We got A10 in the music. This is still rough, but less so than last time. Okay. Known things needing fixing: the bridge, transitions, between sections, mixing, technically still in the composition phase. Open to any and all feedback to make this better. Let's get into it, man. Aiton, give me 2 seconds in the chat. Just drop your name in the chat just so I know that you're here, and then we'll dive in. I'm in the music always. There's Aiton right there in the building. Let's go. Let's dive in. This is Smooth Dissonance currently. That is the name of the track, but let's get into it. If you haven't heard Aiton, you're in for a treat. This is gonna be fun. I've heard an early version of the song. This should be an update of it. Love the progression on this one. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. I gotta back it up. The first thing I'm already noticing is that you fix the progression with the bass. 10 out of 10. So much better. Massive improvement. It changes the whole freaking thing. I'm sorry to stop it. I usually don't stop it on the first listen, but I immediately noticed that there's a change in energy with that bass to the rest of the progression. So much smoother. Now there's none of that tension. Gorgeous. There's nothing that like makes me happier when like something clicks and you're like, oh, that's we literally talked about that progression last time. Let's get into it. Okay. Let me double check for you real quick. I believe so. Nathan, I got you, man. I appreciate you so much. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure I got you in line with everyone else, so we didn't miss out on anything, and I can get you in the right spot. I appreciate you. All right, let's run it from the top. I don't know why Dropbox does this sometimes. There we go. All right, let's run it. So much better. Not even close. This is different too. Yeah, that's new. Hell yeah. %. It's got some like 80s rompler, like old, it's like reminding me of like my old Sonic back there. Like it reminds me of some of the old sound design. It's like kind of bad but perfect at the same time. I love it. Needs a dubstep remix? Everything needs a dubstep remix, Ozzy. Alchemist, welcome in. Let's go. He was summoned. Alchemist was summoned. Happy Tuesday, Miranda. Hope you're doing amazing. I'm excited to dive into this. This is a huge improvement. The progression changes everything. Completely changes like the settling feeling I have listening to this. The line is on the other platforms that we're live on. You can find out my link, and if you want to submit, go to my profile and you'll see the submission link there as well. Right now, top is 20. 10 on, top 20. Currently speaking. Yeah, we can open this up a little bit. We can smooth that out. Yeah, we don't want that ghost. Not right now. I can hear it though. I can hear it. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Y'all show some love. EK's in the building. EK, what's up, EK? Hold on. Let me make sure I'm seeing the right name over here, too. Oh, yeah. Let me make sure my eyes are not deceiving me. We got EK in the building. EK, let me get you up on the board, brother. I appreciate you so much. Let me get you up here. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. All right, let's keep it rolling. Let's keep it rolling. Let's get back into it right away. We got A10 in the building. Shout out to A10. Let's dive in. Big South City Music. Thanks for joining the stream. I appreciate you being here. This early section, I'm really, I guess to affirm all of the things that you already put in your email, I'm much more in love with the early sections of the song now. The corrections on the progression smoothed everything out like crazy, feels way more cohesive, way more just vibey and connected and really, really smoothed out. Very, very, very much so settles the production right there. I do agree that it's a little bit sharp in some of the transitions, so I can kind of affirm some of the things that we already have in the email. Some of the transitions are kind of like we're here and then boom, we're here in the next section, then we go back into the section over here. Thank you for the follow, appreciate it. And it can be a little bit brash on the transitions. I would love maybe a little bit more smooth, like chordal movements or, percussion movements to kind of guide us into the next section. There's sometimes where there is, I think, like the little like marimba that you have in the background, like that gives you a little bit of a textural transition on your second transition. But some of the earlier ones and far later ones, they're a little bit abrupt. We're like here, it's like pendulum swing, right? Boom, and then we're over here, and then we switch back, and it's very linear. I would love to smooth that out and make it feel a little bit more like it's not here's a song transition to a different one and then back to another one where it's like different progression, different sound design, and we're kind of blinking back and forth. I would love for it to feel like there's a little bit more marrying of these different moments and that it feels a little bit smoother, feels a little bit more like they're still one song, even if they feel pretty different. This last section starting, I think like after 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes, or 2:15, something like that. When we go into a little bit more like sharp quarter note beat, it's a little punchier right there. I don't mind what is happening there, but I do think we need to smooth it out a little bit. Same like the transitions, just needs to be smoothed out a little bit right there. Same things like a little bit abrasive, and I think there's a way we can connect it a little bit and make it feel like they're a little bit more part of the same system and same environment. So that's kind of what I'm going to look for here. But already this is like 25% better than the last time I heard it, just by fixing some of your smaller transitional moments. Some of the sound design choices are a little bit better, smoother. And obviously the progression changes like night and day. All right, let's get it, man. Nice little auto pan in the background with the shaker paired with the hats. It's nice. Good movement. Nice little movement there. So like right there, dun dun dun, ba da da da. It's very, very much like this part ends, this part begins. We transition really sharply right there. I would love for part of your sound design to transition there a little bit smoother. Small piano run up to match, like leading into the next melody, something, right? Like it just kind of starts. We're just there. So what could be nice? So you have this kind of up just like in the D, kind of in the high octave right there with the soft piano Spitfire in the back here. Like it could be nice just to hear, and then move to, just a small melody change that feels a little bit more forward, maybe matched with the bass. So like if the bass and that piano, and you go like something in that world right there that kind of guides us into a new movement, instead of it just kind of this one just peters out and this next one goes. I already have a reverse ride and a reverse piano chord for that. Okay, so then on that transition, we need like one other line percussively or melodically to kind of get us there. Because there's a little that kind of moves you into the next section a little bit. Daniel, welcome in. Good to see you. I appreciate you hopping in. Like even just the dead toms you have a little bit later on, you could just use a couple of those in here to transition this next section, smooth it out a little bit. Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. I was like, because it's funny you said that, because there is like a reverse piano in the background. So it's just funny that you're saying that. There is a little, there's like a little reverse in the background right there that does help you, feed in a little bit right there. It's kind of barely there, but that's also for the whole, what I'll call it, verse here. That's the whole kind of verse structure there. So on the transition here, that's where I would still have, and then get into this next section of the song here. It needs a little bit more of a transition here. I think it would be cool to like match if you have something like this, this lower something that you have a little low bass line with the piano or something that like matches together. You don't have to do this obviously, but a low bass line and like piano or rose that matches together right there, and also then matched by the like tom movements. So if you have da 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 da, you'd have cut dum 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 dum. You know what I mean? Like if you can kind of match those energies right there, cut dum 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 dum, and the tandem to that dun, 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 that also like works really well together. Matching melody and rhythm right there will make that transition a lot smoother. It'll feel like really tight, really cohesive, like a band is kind of all playing together. That to me, any version of that, different melody, different notes, different drums, but matching melodic and rhythmic structure right there is going to make a huge difference. Please, can no one else jump ahead of me in this line? It's 11 p.m. in the UK, and I have work in the morning. Yeah, everyone's kind of in a similar situation, Nathan. So that's why people skip ahead. There's no pressure to. There's no rush or any pressure to. I'll always make sure I save yours. If you want to go faster, you can. That's up to you. Completely up to you. There's never any pressure if you want to go faster or skip or anything like that. But there's already 3 people ahead of you. So those people, when you submitted at a lower tier than them, which is why I usually recommend. I say it in the form too, but I recommend that you all keep a tab open
that has the line, the order, and the minimums and stuff like that over on like another tab or on open on your phone. You can kind of bounce back because we're live on YouTube and Twitch as well. The line is always up over there, so you can see exactly where you are, how many songs we have left, and stuff like that. So you still, like currently speaking, you have 3 people in front of you. So there's never any pressure for you to go faster if you don't want to or you don't have the capacity to. But I want to make sure that y'all keep an eye out on the line, keep it up over there. All right, because it's a limited. We take a limited amount of songs every single time that we go live. Okay, let's get past this transition here. Yes, I'm here at TikTok. Let me do my puzzle. I do like the sound design here, so like I'm not mad at this. I'm not mad at this. This is smooth. Back into the progression. You get that little brass swell right there, slow attack. I love a more like natural dry ride too. Like that works really well as well. See, like that helps, right? You doing that. Where am I going here? There we go. You doing it, boom, 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 boom. That is a really nice natural transition. So I actually like that. That's what I was talking about when we first were hearing it. I like that part of the transition. That feels really smooth to me. Stuff like that, right? You can do that percussively early on, but that was actually a really nice way for you to transition down into this low moment right here with those like kalimbas, marimba kind of vibe in the background right there that gives you some of that snappiness, but also transitions you down. That's a good transition because it starts when the beat's a little bit more prominent and then still transitions you into the low element. I love that. Beautiful. This feels like a video game loading screen or something. It's cool. Yep. I like this section. Again, this feels really smooth. We can kind of control it. We can kind of glue everything together, but this is nice. There's also like a little, almost like picked like a acoustic bass or like upright bass on the left side, barely there too. That sounds really nice. Same thing. So every time that we go into this as soon as we go into that melody A and B section here, that's a really brass transition. So those 2 transitions right there, I would love to smooth out, right? There's got to be a way that we come down into that moment in the first part and then going up. It's a little bit more dynamic here when you go into the second section. We got to find a way to get there that's a little bit smoother. Like I would keep that same, you know, that little like higher arpeggio, like this right here. Just do this again. Right here. Bum, 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 dun, dun. Bum, dum, bum, dun, dun. Let's do that right here. Bum, 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 dun, dun, dun. And transition right there, and it'll blend straight. What you could do, here's an easy way you could transition. Since you already have that, what I'll call a marimba, or, you know, in the background right there, since you already have that there, do that melody again as a transition. Ba-dun-dun-dun-dun. Since you go into a soft piano after that, layer that with the piano doing that same melody. So then the piano will then do bum 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 ba da da da, and it'll be like one smooth instrumental transition right there of a similar sound design. So you're like taking this low section sound design, blending the next section, and then it transitions smoothly, right? Like we're just like stepping over, like we're like stepping from one door out into another door. You know what I mean? Like, but it's like really smooth. Like it feels like we're connecting, like we're putting a piece of tape between these 2 different sections. So just do that bum 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 as you're transitioning. Layer it with the piano doing da 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 da. And then you'll go straight into it'll go straight into the next section with the same sound design layered with the marimba underneath it. That's like something like that. However you do that, I think is like a version of that gets you a really, really smooth transition right there. Okay, let's get into this bridge, I think is what we're calling it over here, and then we'll close it out. Most of this I'm really enjoying though, Aiton. Most of this I'm really liking the sound design. I'm liking the feel. What's up, Charity? Welcome in. Faye, welcome in as well. Okay, so here, like I mentioned before, I don't mind, Zach, welcome in. I don't mind what is happening here. Like I don't mind that it exists in this way. Also, y'all, don't forget to don't forget to tap the screen, like the live. It really does help. The live is giving me the lack of it's saying there's like no activity or whatever, making me do puzzles all the time because there's like no activity at all. Make sure you're liking the live. It really does help out quite a bit. Tap the screen, share the live with a few people. Don't forget to send your heart me. It costs 1 penny, but it really does help out the live stream quite a bit. This section right here, the thing that I think is making it feel disconnected a little bit is the drums are still in this kind of like lo-fi R&B groove. The boom, 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 right? And it still has this like slower breakdown to it, while everything else has gone to this more like staccato, choppy moment. Bum, 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 bum. Has a really great energy to it. I like the shift in energy, but I feel like we need to match it better with the drums. I would go into, even if you keep a lot of the same sound design, a 4 on the floor on the drums to keep a change in energy, but also like line it up a little bit better. So a little, but it's a little boom, 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 boom. Like the kick is a little bit more lined up. So you have this dun, 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 and it feels a little bit more tied together. Right now, the drums are kind of doing their own really smooth thing. So the staccato elements of like the piano and some of the other elements that are doing the same staccatos, they feel like they're a little bit out of left field. They feel like they're kind of doing their own thing, and it feels very separate and feel from each other. I think if you can combine them, like bridge the gap a little bit, I think you'll be in a great spot. Because the drums are, they're still like in that slow, like halftime feel. You can still keep the halftime with the snare, but a little I have like the 4 on the floor, 2, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, but 1, 2, and give it like a little bit more punch and drive. So this whole thing feels a little like jazzier, but it feels really connected. I think if you just readjust like the kick and make sure that if we're going to have a little punchy moment in the song for a second, that we get there in a way that's interesting, some little bass slide. I don't know how you need to get there. Another drum roll to bridge that gap a little bit. And then make sure everything feels like it's got some punch and some drive to it and is balanced really well. I think if the drums are still like really ballady, and they still feel like really, classic R&B halftime, then it's going to feel disconnected from the rest of the punch that we have in there. So get everything punchy, 4 on the floor on the kick with some doubles in there, and get everything, nice and driven. And then we can move into the next section. I was just kidding. I get it. I was over to YouTube. And Curtis, I don't know if I saw your message. I don't know if I saw your message. Where's that? Is that Nathan? That is Nathan. That is Nathan. I got okay. Sounds good. Sorry, I got you. Sorry, I'm reading through all the different chats really quick too. So I haven't cleared to know this. Natsuki, aren't they amazing, dude? They're so fire. I love them. Okay, let's get into the last section here. Last section, which is pretty much the early sections too. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I agree with everything. Kind of got you, Aiton. Everything that's in the email. That's all adding up to me. Y'all show some love to Aiton. Aiton, I appreciate you so much, brother. I love this production, man. I've loved this since the first time that I heard it last time. It makes a lot of sense. It's interesting. The progressions are vibey and they're moody and they have a lot of emotion to them. I like them a lot. I like so many of the different characteristics that are within your structure that we have here. It's really, really well put together. So exactly like you said in the email, it's finding like the methodology of how you want to transition, which hopefully we offered some get your wheels spinning, so you can tap into those transitions again, and then how we can kind of finalize and really push just a little bit on that last section there to make sure everything drives together. I wanted to make the song less lo-fi. let's say hypothetically, I wanted to make the song less lo-fi and more aggressive slightly. I mean, if you want to make it less lo-fi, I think so much of that has to do with processing and sound design choice. It seems like kind of a duh answer. But if you want to, then I would just like make sure in your building of sound design that it doesn't feel like the cross stick or the rim shots or snares like filtered down. Make sure it feels like it's a real live snare with like really low flams and like low ghost notes. It feels like a real set as opposed to like filtered down and super saturated. Same with some of the other like modulation, the tape noise on all of the cross sticks and stuff like that. That's going to give you this really like tape saturated, fuzzy, low fidelity sound. If you want it to be a bit more modern, a bit more hi-fi, then pull back on some of that processing and you can modernize that, I think, pretty easily. But that just going to come down to sound design choice. Like, is your kick really like dull and thuddy, like low, dead 60s kind of low fidelity kick, or is it like sharp and punchy and transient? And like, does the snare have a little bit more life to it? Like a more modern, like you're listening to like a modern gospel or R&B record that has some of these interesting chord progressions in the background, right? So, I mean, this really comes down to your sound design choices for these different elements and then how you process those sound design choices. I mean, I think it comes down to like, if I want a more modern sound, then don't pull the sound back to like really low fidelity, fuzzy, noisy sounds, right? You want things to sit a little bit more modern. What's up, Jenna? Like a lot of what you're already doing here, I think like there's a lot of blending between modern and more retro, right? Like there already is a lot of blending of that. Can you suggest a reference track? Oof, oh man. I mean, I would a reference track. I don't know. I'm so terrible. Sometimes I'm on fire with reference tracks. Sometimes I can't think of a reference track to save my life. Blade Money, welcome in. Good to see you. I hope you're doing amazing. I don't know. I would listen to some. Who is? Give me a second. I'm gonna look it up. Honestly, look up some like modern like rappers and like R&B and like gospel artists that use live sound. I'm doing good, Blade. Doing good. What's up, Nova? Welcome back. I'm gonna find there's an artist I'm thinking of. I just can't think of the name. Give me a sec. I'm gonna try to pull it up. Let me see. Boom, 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 boom. Dun, dun. Like, look, you could even look up some like Anderson. Yeah, like Anderson .Paak, kind of like, like, again, some like more like they're like modern artists. They've also been doing it for a while, but they use a lot of like modern, like even Chance the Rapper, like listen to some artists like that have some elements of some like crunchy drums and stuff like that, but they'll also have just like real live, like gospel, soul, like R&B instrumentation that's just real. I mean, they're like playing a Rhodes, a live drum set, like a real Hammond B3 organ in the background. Yeah, like listen to some in that vein. Yeah, I think so. Listen to some in that vein. Like listen to like modern R&B and gospel that uses real instrumentation that's not trying to like emulate era. You know what I mean? Like if you're like making lo-fi, a lot of times it's like fake vinyl noise in the background. Everything's filtered down. Everything's really controlled and low fidelity, as opposed to just like real instrumentation that's working really well together. So listen to some artists like that, and they might not be exactly in your vein, but listen to what they're doing, right? Like let me see for a second. I'm gonna pull something up. I gotta open up Spotify for a second, and I'm just gonna run through something and just see if it's kind of what I'm talking about. I'm kind of trying to use my imagination here and see what's going on. I mean, there, right off the bat. Synths, real good. I mean, right off the bat, this is a very, very different vibe in a lot of senses. But like right off the bat, this is what I'm imagining when this is a bit more realistic, not like lo-fi. Already, real drums, analog synth, real guitars, grand piano. Right? Like, know what I'm saying? So 100%.
Damn, I don't even
Like you can already get kind of the direction that I'm it's like this isn't really processed low fidelity in the way that we're talking about, right? Like this, in this sense, we're just taking real, maybe some flangers on your transition, some automation and stuff like that. But this is more just what you're kind of going for, but less process to get there and just choosing. This is right sound from the beginning. How are you feeling about using a multi-sample versus recording for real? It make good music, Les. That's kind of like that's my mindset on it. Like I have real drums, but they're not set up right now. Like I'm selling my drum set to get a new one in here. So my old like '90s Pearl Vision set over here is all taken down. It's a beautiful drum set, but I have it taken down right now because I'm trying to get rid of it. I want to get a new set in here, but I like tracking. I've been playing drums since I was 4 years old. So I love tracking live drums. I love making my own samples of drums and stuff like that. But at the same time, not everyone has the capacity. Not everyone has a live drummer or can pay $300 for a session musician on a song. That makes sense. So yeah, there's nothing wrong with using samples. The thing that I like about using licensed samples or like paying for a license-free sample service, whatever it may be, is that musician got paid, right? So I think that would be the difference. Is like there's nothing like even like using Splice. Like the people that made, if you use like an Oliver sample in Splice, he got paid. He got paid for those downloads. So even there, it's like you can still use, like I use stuff all the time. If I don't have the capacity, like right now, my drums aren't set up. If I need a quick little dead tom roll, I'm either going to use a plugin that I have that, again, the session drummers that they sampled all the velocity hits at and velocity points at, they got paid for that, right? And they actually are getting the kickback from the people that are utilizing it and paying for the VST and stuff like that. So there's nothing wrong with using samples. There's nothing wrong with, using VSTs and stuff like that, as long as it gets you to the result that you want. And it does feel like authentically creative to you. Like it does feel like you are still, they give you the follow. It does feel like you're getting what you want out of your song. That's the biggest thing. That's the limitation that people run into, is where like they run to samples first and line up with the sample constantly. And that's where music starts to all sound the same, right? Where instead of like, I have this idea, I have this intuition, I'm going to search out wherever I possibly can to find something that aligns with that vision. They just start scrolling, or you know what I mean? They just kind of like doom scroll, they just doom scroll Splice and like, oh, I found something. But it's like you and 50,000 other producers found that same sample and didn't touch it. So that gets challenging. I think, if I want to make a 70 song, should I just record it all for real on tape? That heavily depends on capacity. Not everyone has the capacity to do that, right? If you can, like I have a tape machine down here. I have a tape machine from, I think the 60s. I think it's like from like 1965. This old Sony 355, TC355 down here. I'm fixing it up right now. But yeah, like I have this old tape machine because I want to be recording some samples to tape specifically and even doing some mix stuff in there just for fun, right? Just because it's enjoyable for me and I like the sound. But if you don't have the capacity to do that, use a Kramer tape plugin from Waves for $30. You know what I mean? Do what makes the most sense for like your studio, your capacity, your budget, your knowledge level, your skill level, stuff like that. So I think it really heavily depends on what you have the capacity to actually execute. All right, y'all show some love to the family. Aiton, I love what you do. I love what you do. I appreciate you so much, brother. Thank you for sending that in. I think one other revision on this, and you'll be like right at the edge of what the song's supposed to be and what the track is supposed to be. I am Norwegian. Can you have tips like Avicii beat? Kind of depends on where you're at. That's so broad. Sometimes people are like, how do I get a good sounding vocal? It kind of depends on like what your pain point is when you're recording stuff like that. It's like how to produce like Avicii is like, you got to build the skills that Avicii had, right? Whether that's like organizing synthesis, if you're like organizing layers, the ability to keep, I think using what Avicii did really, really well. Was melodic structure, right? So all of Avicii's songs, for me, at least the way that I perceive them, are heavily, heavily built around this vocal structure and the melodics. And so when you go into the breakdown and the main beat of the song and stuff like that, it still feels incredibly, incredibly musical and alive. It doesn't feel as like rigid as maybe some other EDM, constructs would be and structures would be. And so I feel like in the sense of like, how do you produce like that? It's like build around a really, really good, solid like vocal sample and build a format from there that still feels as musical and as open as that original vocal sample. No, I don't speak Norwegian. That's my name is Norwegian. Torvik is obviously a Norwegian name after the fjords, but I'm in San Antonio, Texas. Unfortunately, I do not speak Norwegian. Okay, let's keep it rolling, y'all. We got to keep it moving and grooving. We've got Nova in the building. Nova, let me know if you're in the building. Let me know if you're in the building. Y'all keep tapping the screen, keep sharing out the live. Don't forget to send your harmony for the day. It does really help out the live stream. We're going to keep it rolling. If you would like to submit your music, we'll be closing up the line here in just a little bit. So definitely Norwegian Cowboy, something like that. Something like that. If you want to submit your music, you definitely can. I do need to update the minimum, so I'll give you just one moment here. We got 3 songs left here. So I do need, the minimums are updated. So please, if you're going to submit, keep your eyes out on the line. The line is updated so you can see how many tracks that we have left. You can see our minimums up there and you can see where you are in the lineup. So you can always know exactly where things are. So you never have a question of whether you're next or whether you're coming up or if you have time for yours or not. You can also move around if you'd like to. If you want to go faster or save it for another time, of course you can. As first vocal or beat like a beat. I mean, it's different every time. And any producer will tell you. Any producer will tell you it's different every time. Sometimes you get a cool idea for a production and a beat, and then other times you get a vocal first, you hear a melody, and you build off that. But it's different every time. There's no rules to it. And if you were to follow that rule versus your own intuition, melodically and creatively, you'd be doing yourself a disservice. Just follow your own intuition. If you start coming up with melodies in your head, build off that. If you hear vocals and it inspires you, build off that. But for me, for someone who produces for a living, it's different every single time. Every time that I produce something, I make something, or I working on a session, it's a little bit different. About what's the main thing about your live mix a tip? So we do 20 to 30 minute multiple listen, long form consultation. So artists, producers, musicians, engineers, songwriters, vocalists, they send in their music, and we spend about 20 to 30 minutes breaking it down, offering, tips as far as building out the structure of their music, mix, production, sound design, lyrics, songwriting, structure, stuff like that, to hopefully offer them some professional and actionable feedback on their music. Each breakdown, we listen to the song multiple times and get into the details. We're getting to our last couple songs here. We will be live again tomorrow, so definitely stay tapped in. Okay. We've got Nova in the building. Nova, I see you down here. I didn't know you were a Norwegian. I think that's how it's spelled over the hell. Yeah, yeah. I mean, technically, I have very little, unfortunately, very little connection to that heritage outside of my last name. But I would love to gain more of that. I would love to learn more about it. Would love to visit. I mean, it's obviously a beautiful, beautiful place. But yeah, all right, let's get into it. We got Nova in the building. Let's see. And Nova. Okay, wait, no, Nova, you sent this. Let's see, this would be from a couple days ago. So let me pull it up here. We'd love to move there if anyone can let us know, literally. This is my track, Twisting Tranquility. Just recently wrote this on my 8-string guitar, kind of a mix between melodic death metal, metalcore, and gent. I had a lot of fun writing this one. Let's get it. We got the drive file. Let's get it downloaded. Keep tapping the screen. Keep sharing out the live. And if you want to submit, check the line first. You can see the minimum since we are getting towards the tail end. Please do. And if you want to submit, just go to my profile, click on the link, read through and follow the details. If you're on the purple app, type ! Submit. If you're on the red app, then go to the description for the live stream. All right, give me a second. It's downloading here. Abigail's Asylum. That's amazing. Congrats on the release. Congrats on the release. That's amazing. All right, it's downloaded. Twisted Tranquility. Let's get it. This is Nova. Nasty. good rhythm matching right there. That's nice. Let's go, Nova. Very cool, man. Great delayed hit. Tone is great. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Y'all show some love. Show some love. Show some love. That is the family, the real Nova official. I see him over on YouTube right now. Show him some love and support. Let's get into it, man. Let's run it from the top. Let's dive into the details. That is Twisting Tranquility. Let's run it from the top, man. Really, really, really well done. Really, really well done, man. This feels very nice. I think you said this is your... recently wrote this on your 8-string guitar, man. You're getting a lot of like really, really low depth and character from like those low chugs that you have. It feels nasty. It feels grungy. It has all of this tension to it. So I'm excited to break this down, get into some of the details of it. But honestly, man, this is really, really well put together. Love the different dynamic ranges. Love the different moments that you have in here that do feel like the song is living and breathing. It's got good energy to it. So let's run it. Let's run it. Let's run it. In these first moments, let me go ahead and drop this into Pro Tools for 2 seconds. I shouldn't have to spend too much time on this song. It's got a really, really good structure already. But let's drop this in Pro Tools really quick. Andrew Howard, welcome into the stream. I appreciate you being here. Let's bring this over here. Drop it down. Okay. All right. We're in Pro Tools, baby. Okay, let's is it Skithles? I know I'm butchering your name, so I'm so sorry. I apologize. The line is on the other platforms that we're live on. So if you go to YouTube or Twitch, you can find them at my link. The line is always up over there. Is it Atia? Thank you so much for the heart me. I really appreciate that. I was at my guitar setup. I'm marking drop F tuning on this one. That's crazy. It's crazy. It's incredible. It's incredible. Okay, let's run it from the top. Let's run it from the top. The thing that I'm looking for right before we dive into it is right here in the middle. This little range right here, this is kind of what I'm looking for, around, let's say 300-400 hertz, kind of in the middle right here, low mids, if you will. In this range right here, this is where it's feeling a little empty to me. It's feeling like it's lacking a little bit of like warmth and openness. It feels really crispy and snappy and punchy, and it's driving really well. The drums are kicking. I hear a lot of like string attack from the bass. You get a lot of that high end in there as well. And I get a little bit of like sub. So it sounds like like almost Pultec style, like bright and crispy, low and thuddy at the bottom, right? So like 100 hertz and below, 60 hertz and below, there's a little bit of beef right there. But in the low mids and some of the mids, I'm missing a little bit of the warmth that I feel like really helps fill this out. So what we'll probably notice, I'll delete this curve right here, is you'll see a little bit of a dip right here in the middle once we play this, which is kind of what I'm listening for. Boom. So you can kind of see right in here. That's what I'm listening for, right? You can kind of see immediately, like this is kind of what it looks like. The whole mix has a little bit of a dip right here. This is kind of what I'm listening for, where you got all of this, again, like I mentioned, 62 to 100 hertz and below right here on the bottom. And then, 5K and above, 8K and above at the top, where you get a little nice and crispy. It's nice and open. Where do you get all of your sound production knowledge? Did you go to college? I only asked because I'm trying to learn more. Sven, thank you so much for tapping in. So long story short, I've been in music my whole life in a lot of different facets and formats. Started playing learned drums when I was 4, was classically trained in piano from the age of 6 through 19, taught myself guitar at 8, taught myself Pro Tools at 12, and did a private mentorship at a studio with one of the audio engineers there, who's one of the professors of the Audio Engineering Institute at the time. And I spent about 2.5 years in a private mentorship with him in studio, where that's where I learned audio engineering, live sound tracking, or, a studio tracking, live sound engineering, stuff like that. So that was like that 2.5 years in the studio, that 2.5 years of a private mentorship. That was where I learned a lot of like the actual like fundamentals of audio engineering, live sound, studio tracking, studio production, and stuff like that. Being a tracking engineer, a mixing engineer, so on and so on. A lot of my foundation happened there. And then I've been working in audio engineering and production, doing session work ever since then. So that was about 14 years ago that I started doing that. But I've been in music, like I said, since I was, 4, 5, 6 years old, early on, doing a lot of heavy work in music. Okay, so now what I'll do is I'll fill this gap for you by actually bringing back in those frequencies. We'll kind of see what we're talking about. You can see right here, boom. Immediately, this is dramatic. I'm going to be dramatic, right? Jinx, welcome in. I'm going to be dramatic here, but I'm like cranking, 400 hertz by 5 dB, 4.5 dB. That's crazy. Don't do that. But you can immediately, I just bring this back in, and it's like the whole song wakes up like crazy, because you can see the gap in frequency right there from the rhythm guitars and the bass. And then as soon as I inflate that, the whole song comes to life like crazy. Bypass. On. Bypass. Back on. It's like it's subtle on TikTok. Thank you for the follow on TikTok. It might not come in as clear, just compression. On the other apps, it should come through pretty clear. The difference in just energy that pops through, like now the guitars have some weight to it. Now like the snare's got a little bit more, beef behind it. It's got a little bit more life to it. Those guitars really start to shine. If you cut a lot of like the fundamentals of those guitars, in the middle, especially around, 300 to 800 hertz, even a lot of where like some of the fundamental of the vocal would lie, there's a lot of energy right there that's like missing out of the mix. So even, oops, I got to skip this forward. Let me see here. Bypass. Danielle, welcome in. I hope you're doing amazing. Bypass. It's like I'm hearing part, and again, I'm doing this dramatically. I'm doing this the most dramatic way possible to make it even that much more obvious what's going on. But like the difference in how much I actually like hear of the guitar, like I feel like I'm hearing parts of the guitar and parts of the strings and some of your little like high cleaner arpeggios in the background I didn't even know was existing. And I'm just cranking this on the master. Never mix like this, but just cranking this on the master to kind of like bring to life some of the frequencies that have been suppressed here. Bypass. This is original. So different. Sounds so much thinner now. Back. So what that's telling me is that there's some scoops that have happened in like your double tracked rhythm guitar structure, maybe a little bit of your bass, maybe even a little bit on like your drum bus or your master, that is robbing us of a little bit of energy and a little bit of push and a little bit of drive right there that I would love to bring back into the mix. It's really one of the only things that I'm hearing. I think your production is awesome. It's energetic, it's vibrant, it hits really, really hard when it's supposed to. It's got great dynamic range. I'm really not mad at much at all that's going on here. So for me, one of the biggest things that I want you to do is just regain a little bit of life. Maybe some things have been kind of surgically brought back to like kind of leave space. Bring a little bit of life back into your mids and low mids so this feels like it has a little bit more vibrancy to it again. I think if you do that, this is going to take a completely different form for me. It'll feel way more like natural instead of like kind of surgically, digitally, kind of chopped up and made to be what it is. It'll sound like it's really, really alive, which of course is something that I really want with a song like this. Let's get into this breakdown right here. Let's see, B section over here is what I want to get into. Back. That lead comes to life. Okay, let's get into this last little part right here. This Nova, this is beautiful though, man. It's a really, really good structure. It's fantastic. Henry, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. Love the dynamics. Original. Totally different feel. To me, when you bring back in those mids, and we'll close out the last section, right? I wouldn't change really anything about your production structure at all. I think it sounds fantastic. Just polish what you need to and get it out. As far as like what you're doing musically, I think your musicianship is awesome. There's some great programming going on. And if you're like, what you expect, I love that anticipation. I think that's fantastic, man. I think it's fantastic. And what I want to get out of this is like when I bring in the mids for a moment, when I bring in the mids and some of those low mids again, like I said, 300 to 800 hertz, when you bring that back into the mix, you get more of that wall of sound that I want without it being harsh, without it just being, now it's just loud and abrasive. You get that wall of sound, this burst of energy, this like incredibly like vibrant structure here without it feeling like incredibly abrasive to listen to. What's up, G's? Welcome in. So that's kind of what I'm looking at. It's like I want this to feel louder and more energetic and have more drive behind it than it even does now. And it's already like really heavy. It's already heavy. It's already dark. It already sounds crazy. But I think giving the right EQ curves will give it just a bit more life, a little bit more presence, which to me wakes it up like crazy. Verses here. Back. And this is all I'm doing. I'm just bringing back in this curve. Amazing, 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 amazing. Show some love. Show some love, show some love. That is Twisting Tranquility by the Real Nova Official. They're over on YouTube right now. Show them some love and support. That is the family Nova. We love and appreciate you so much, man. Thank you for what you do. You're a powerhouse producer, man. Really are. Really, really, really talented producer. So I appreciate so much you sending in that track and allowing us to break it down and kind of getting into the details of it. Please show some love to the family. What we do here are 20 to 30 minute multiple listen consultations. So this is not, it's not a reaction. It's not like a rating. There's no polls or nothing like that. It's a really detailed, like deep dive into the structure of your music. So if you would like a consultation, like I said, they're 20 to 30 minutes a piece. They're detailed, they're long, they're really nuanced, directed at the structure of what you're doing. Then go to my profile, click on the link, and then read through and follow the details there. But I would first check the line over on the other platforms. We got about 2 songs left. So if you want to submit, check the line first because you'll see the minimums. You'll see how many songs that we have left so you know if you need to be saved for the next time or if you want to go ahead and skip or go ahead and put yourself up on the board. It's completely up to you. There's no pressure either way. Appreciate it. Yeah, absolutely, G's. I appreciate you. Question for the creator and a guest. Oh, no, you don't have to upload stems. Not at all. In that particular song, I just personally decided I wanted to drop it into Pro Tools so we could break something down in there, but not at all. Send an MP3, a Wave, Spotify, SoundCloud, YouTube, Drive file, Dropbox, whatever. Doesn't matter to me. Just make sure y'all check minimums first over there, just because we're towards the end of the live. Question for the creator, and I guess also for you, Torvik. If you were to add lyrics to this, would you think as a way to style lyrics or real screamo style? I think a combination for me. That's what I imagine. A combination is what I imagine, like really like strong, clean lead, and then maybe some breakdowns with some like low guttural fry scream, stuff like that. I can imagine a combination of the two of like cleaner leads, and then potentially some like more guttural false chords or like fries on some of the breakdowns. I think would be really cool. I don't have any of those. Yeah, most of their stuff is all instrumental. After the burial style vocals. Y'all show some up to Nova one more time. Let's keep it going. Last 2 tracks, yo. Last 2 tracks. We got Tommy I can't read my list. Where's my list? I'm sorry, not Tommy. Tammy. Sorry, I can't, my list is too far away. Tammy and EK are the last two that we have on here so far. Fox is in the vineyard. Welcome in. I appreciate you being here. Tammy's in the building. Let's go. Let's keep it rolling. And Tammy, I got you right here. We're going to keep it rolling. Fox is in the vineyard. Thank you so much for the follow. I really appreciate that. If y'all are on TikTok, tap the screen, share out the live. Make sure y'all are sending in your heart. It really does help out the stream. If you want to submit, actually, after this song, I'm closing the line. If you're still up on the board at the end of the live, if you got to leave, you got to eat, sleep, work, anything, whatever it may be, or if I get off at the end of the live stream and you haven't been heard, you will always be saved and boosted. If you get saved and we do not hear your song, we will always make sure that I add to yours. So the next time you come in, you have a bit of a boost. You get a little bit of a leg up, which is how we've gotten some of these people back up on the line today. I'll give you a little bit of a leg up the next time that you come in, and also make sure that I save your name and your credit to my list. That way, all you got to do is just let me know that you're back the next time we go live, which will be tomorrow, and we'll get you up on the board. Thanks for the EQ advice, by the way, and as always, thanks for the consultation. Anytime, Nova. I appreciate you a lot, brother. That's a solid production. Solid production. I got like gnats in here, dude. They're so annoying in Texas, man. This is my new released first time live. I wrote it for my mother. Amazing. Okay, here's my new single, Mama Took Me to Jesus. This will be released May 15th, which is in 3 days. Let's get into it. Have I heard your stuff before, Tammy? The name is seeming super familiar, so there's a part of me that feels like I have heard your music before, maybe like once recently. If not, then let me know. No, okay, the first time. All right, this is my first time hearing your music. I want all of the details. Give me all of the details, all the context. Talk to me about where you got the production. If it's your production, you made it yourself. If you worked with musicians or a studio, you got to beat off of YouTube or BeatStars. If you're mixing this yourself, you're recording it yourselves, give me all of the details on the role that you played in creating this music, and we'll break it down. This is Mama Took Me to Jesus, and this is Tammy right here in the chat over on TikTok. Let's get into it. Thank you so much for your submission. I appreciate that a lot. Wrote it, music, had a wonderful producer helping me. Awesome. Welcome in, Van. Good to see you, brother. Hope you're doing amazing.
Sunday morning sun was rising, biscuits on the stove, Mama humming old time hymns in her Sunday clothes. She gathered us around her, brushed the sleep out of our eyes. Say, children, don't you forget now, Jesus paid the price. Hand in hand through those open doors, to the sound of saints at prayer, she'd say, hold to Jesus all
Great voice.
your days, he'll meet you anywhere. Mama took me to Jesus, now beside my bed.
Fabio, welcome in.
Folded hands and whispered prayers over every word she said.
Is that producer mixing this as well?
Through the hard times we went through, Mama loved her Savior.
Okay, nice.
And she made sure we did too. I remember nights she stayed up late, light beneath her door, calling out our names to heaven like
All right, y'all, line is closed.
times before.
One more song after this.
When we wandered far from home, thought we knew it all, she was down her knees again. She say, Lord, they're yours before they're mine. You gave them life to live. Guide their steps and guard their hearts and everything they give. Mama took me to Jesus.
Great natural vibrato
Mama
too.
took me to Jesus, showed me how to pray, taught me where my hope comes from, and who'll make a way. I'm standing here forgiven. My heart is finally free. It's 'cause Mama loved Jesus, and she brought his love to me. And she brought his love
Tony Walid, Love Lex, welcome in. I appreciate y'all being here.
to
One moment. Let's go, Tammy. Beautiful voice. Really, really nice voice. Nice little drone on the A major there too. Y'all show some love, kind of glues the whole thing together. Y'all show some love, show some love, show some love. That is Tammy, who's right here in the chat. The song is called Mama Took Me to Jesus. We're about to run it back from the top. We're gonna get into some details of it. But that song comes out on platforms in 3 days. In 3 days, on May 15th, that song comes out. So if you like what you hear, definitely. What's up? Spa Wiz. Sorry, I can't. Like sometimes I'm trying to figure out the names of people as they come in. Howdy, welcome in over on YouTube. I appreciate you being here. For those of y'all who are wanting to submit, Synorgy, am I saying that correctly? Thank you so much, or Synoji, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. We are closed, y'all. We are closed. The line is closed. We got one more song after this. If you would like to submit, we'll be live again tomorrow afternoon. Waleed, thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate it. So make sure that you're following, turn notifications on. We'll be live once again tomorrow afternoon. We'll open up the line to another like 8 to 10 songs. And then we'll break down again. For those of you who don't know, these are 20 to 30 minute breakdowns, long form consultations. One more mean, but if it wasn't you, love. If it wasn't you, then it would be a bunch of other people that would be in line far before you. So I got to cap it at some point. But yeah, we'll be live again tomorrow. We'll open up the line. We'll get a bunch more people in here. We'll get to more of y'all's music. But yeah, each of these breakdowns are 20 to 30 minutes a piece. We listen to your song multiple times to really get into those details, dive into the nuances of it, and give a really nuanced breakdown of the structure of your music. Thank you, Aliri and Love Lex. I appreciate the follows. Thank you all so much. But yeah, we'll be live tomorrow afternoon, probably like 2 or 3 p.m. Central, something like that. I only go live after I'm finished with all of my other work for the day. So like it'll be, if I finish up some, like I think I have a mix revision in the morning. I've got to finish up some other production stuff I got to get done before the afternoon. So whenever I finish up, my projects for the day, my work for the day here in the studio, then I'll hop on live for a couple hours. Hopefully we can get a decent amount of time in tomorrow. But y'all, please show some love to Tammy. Tammy, I appreciate you sending this in so much. I appreciate it. And thank you for the roses as well. I'm sorry if I missed that earlier. Thank you for those 3 roses. I really appreciate it. Let's run it back from the top. Hey, thank you, Larry. I appreciate you a lot. Yeah, we've been doing these consultations for the last like almost 3.5 years. And we've been doing this. Doing like 30-minute consultations, long form, detailed, like getting into the mix, production, sound design, lyric, and song format, stuff like that. It's been awesome. It's been great. It's been fun to just, offer whatever tools that I've gained over the years of working in this space and hopefully offer some like actionable feedback to producers, musicians, songwriters, vocalists, engineers, whatever it may be. It's been fun. It's been a cool ride. All right. Let's run it from the top. Tammy, this song comes out in a couple days. So there's a couple things I want to keep in mind. That this song is already in distribution, so I'm aware of that. The song is in distribution, and it is going to be, it's out in a couple days. So when I talk about elements of the song that I would improve, or like elements within even like the mix structure that I would improve on, take it with a grain of salt and take it to the next session. Like take it to the next mix, the next record that you're working on. Not necessarily like something you have to like pull your submission and then move from there. Don't think about it that way. I'll say some things that I'm hearing, it's just the things that I'm hearing within the structure of the music and the mix. And if those things you feel like they're valid and that, like they apply to the structure of your music, then just take it into the next one. You'll be good to go. I can never get the voice recording to sound natural with the music. There's a lot of depending on the pain points, there's a lot of points in that, but a lot of it has to do with the relationship of the vocal to the music. If there's enough frequency space, like is there space for the vocal to live in the mix itself as well? This will be everywhere. I would love to hear your feedback. I'm back in the studio in 3 weeks. Beautiful. I love it. I love it. Okay, let's get into it. Let's run it from the top. We'll dive into a couple things really quickly, and then we're going to close it up today with EK. I believe EK is going to close us out today. And I believe this is, if I'm hearing correctly, I believe this is A major. Yeah, A major off the top. I like it. And you have a nice little like glue in the drone, you know, kind of in the background. Just A major kind of breathing on the track in the background. It's nice. It's like very like classic, contemporary.
Sunday morning sun was rising.
Right off the bat. So again, quick note, this is going to be on the mixing side. On the mixing side, I would love to get a little bit more control and suppression of your sibilants. So sibilants being your S's, T's, sometimes C's and K's. It's when that slices through with more resonance that you want it to, right? When that's happening, it can become really abrasive to listen to and really harsh to listen to when those S's cut through. In this particular song, there's a lot of S's, just I think based on the lyric and phrasing of a lot of the song. Even like Jesus, right? Just like Jesus right there, you have like these two big S's, and then you have this, I think it's Sunday morning, you have immediate lyric structure with a lot of S's, and it has a lot of resonance to it, like additional resonance that's not, it's not really flattering to listen to because it comes through really harsh. Those right there is where I would create a little bit of suppression. A de-esser is an easy way to do it. There's multiple ways to do it, but a de-esser is an easy way for if you're going for a really bright vocal. In this case, this is a pretty bright vocal. It is going to increase naturally. Like if you crank the high end of the vocal, it is going to increase some of the more abrasive frequencies, especially where a lot of that sibilance lies. Typically between, say, like 5K to 7 or 8K, kind of in that range. So if you're going for a really bright vocal, just be careful, like maybe, you know, right before that or right after that really bright, that big brightening of the vocal in the EQ, you're probably going to need to have a de-esser. And I'll tell you a couple different things you can do. Have a de-esser to help suppress that and control it. Thank you for the heart, and thank you for the follow as well, to help control some of that sibilance so that you can still get, there's a balance here, right? If I go too far with the de-esser, it gives you a lisp and it cuts out all of your natural phrasing of your vocal. We don't want that. All we want is to control when those S's, T's, sometimes C's and K's hit in the mix, when they feel like really slicey and really resonant. We just want to control them to where it still sounds incredibly natural, but it's a little bit softer and a little bit more controlled to listen to without changing your natural phrasing. So that's what, like, I have a de-esser on my vocal, right? But you can still hear like my natural phrasing. It's not necessarily like giving me a lisp, right? Like it still feels like fairly natural to listen to. If you go too far with a de-esser and you pull that threshold too far down and it cuts out all of the S's and compresses it too far, it makes it sound really unnatural and everything sounds like an F, right? It almost gives it like a lisp. That's not what we want. A little bit of control. Your first couple little phrases right here are pretty harsh. One of the tests that I always, thank you for the donut. Is it Benji? Am I saying that correctly? Thank you for that. I appreciate that. One of the tests that I always tell people to kind of keep in mind. Thank you for the follow, Nick. I appreciate it. Keep in mind when they're mixing and producing their own music or working with an engineer is how loud can you turn this up before it hurts? Thank you so much for the hat and mustache. Is it Nick Tropolis? Thank you for the hat and mustache. I appreciate you so much. Thank you. How loud can I turn up my mix in my case? Like how loud can I turn up my song, turn up my mix that I'm working on before it hurts to listen to? And the goal is that there's such a beautiful balance to the production and balance to the mix and the different frequencies and elements that are within it that I can really push this loud without it hurting. It just gets loud, it gets impactful, it feels full, but it doesn't really hurt. When you turn things up, sometimes when you turn them really quiet, there's like two sides to this. When you turn things really quiet, it will showcase. Thank you for the bubblegum, Benji. I appreciate it so much. When you turn things really quiet, you'll see which things really slice through. In this case, that sibilance definitely will. And when you turn things really loud, you'll see what really hurts really soon. In this case, it's going to be the same thing. The sibilance, S's, T's, C's, K's, stuff like that. Nick, thank you for the heart me. I appreciate the gifts, y'all. Thank y'all so much. So what I want to do is make sure that we remove as many distractions to people experiencing this song to the fullest as possible. So the de-esser is going to be really helpful with that. The other thing that I would do, another part that is helpful with that, is making sure that you have some elements of practical tools in your tracking itself. So the other thing, thank you for the clubs here. The other thing that I would do is maybe, for one, a couple elements. Maybe step back a little bit from your microphone, a little bit farther back, so you don't get nearly as much like sibilant and plosive energy. The thing with like sibilants and plosives is there's wind behind them, as opposed to a lot of your other consonants and ways that you phrase lyrics. So when you say P's and B's and C's and K's, there's like T's, stuff like that. There's wind behind it. It's much more abrasive to listen to. There's a lot more energy actually hitting the diaphragm with the microphone. That's where you get that boominess with your plosives. It's where you get that sharpness with your sibilants, your S's and T's and stuff like that. So that being the case, stepping back from the microphone, even just another 2 or 3 inches, can help diffuse some of that wind, some of that energy. Another step to that, again, steps to tracking. The better you track, the better the mix is going to be. The better the mix is, the better the master will be. Source matters more than anything. So if you step back even just a little bit, step back from the microphone another 2 or 3 inches, maybe even more, just kind of depends on how you're doing things. Step back just a little bit more. Make sure that you have a pop filter in place as well. That will help. That'll help with some of those plosives. It'll help with some of the harshness of those S's and T's. So step back a little bit, a pop filter in place, a couple inches off the diaphragm of the microphone. The other is, as you can see here with my microphone, it's angled down slightly as well. The less direct, again, the energy straight onto the capsule of the microphone, the more diffusion you're going to have. So if I'm back a little bit farther, have a filter in place and an angle to the microphone, even just like 15 degrees or something like that, angled down almost like towards my neck or towards my chest a little bit. In my case, more like towards my chin or my neck. It will help diffuse some of that really like plosive and harsh energy on the diaphragm of the microphone. And that alone will help mitigate some of the harshness. So the less processing you have to do to like fix issues that are happening in tracking, the better and clearer and more transparent your vocal is going to sound. Benji, thank you so much for the gifts. I appreciate you. I appreciate it a lot. So those are some of the things I would do, right? Step back a little bit, make sure that you're filtered. And so you're diffusing some of that stuff, diffusing some of those plosives, diffusing some of that harshness. And then if there's still, and there usually is sometimes, if there is some harshness that's still kind of creeping into the mix, some of those S's are still a little bit slicey in the mix, then you can suppress it a little bit with a de-esser, and that's really simple, but you don't have to do it as much because you've controlled it by how you track your source. If you track your source really well, you won't have to do as much of these like surgical things later, and you'll have a more natural, transparent vocal. So that's what I want you to focus on. That's one of the biggest things. Let's listen a little bit further. Nick Tropolis, thank you so much for tapping in. I appreciate you being here. We are closed for today. This is, we got one more song after this. It's already in the line. One more song after this, and then we'll be live again tomorrow. So if y'all aren't already, just make sure that y'all are following. Make sure that you got notifications turned on, and we will be live again tomorrow, like maybe around 2 or 3 p.m. Central-ish. And we'll open up the lines again. We'll take on a handful of songs and get back into these 20 to 30 minute consultations like we're doing right now. Get into the details and really focus on the structure of your music. Every time someone sends in, we listen to their song 2 or 3 different times. So it's not like we just like listen for a second, say get a better mix, and then move on. It's deep. We're gonna listen for a while. Some say Torvik invented Febreze because his music is fresh and clean. That's actually a fact. That's actually true. They just forgot to send me royalties for that. Okay, let's get a little deeper into this, Tammy. Again, Tammy, you got an amazing voice. This is a good musician on the production side. There's a lot that I like about this that I think is very in line with the genre, very consistent with the way you're building lyrics. You do have an awesome voice. I also hear some beautiful harmonies in here. The biggest thing that I'm listening for is I want to be able to like open this song up and like play it loud and really experience kind of the cinematics of it and the contemporary structure of it without it feeling harsh. As soon as something feels harsh, people have an instinct to turn down, and they'll experience less of the emotion that you're bringing to the performance. And I want them to feel I want them to get the chills when the bass comes in. When your voice hits the high notes, I want them to get chills and feel all the emotion around it, and not you hit the high note with an S and it sounds really shrill and really harsh, and then they're like, oh, turn it down, and then they don't go back to it on Spotify or whatever it may be. I want the experience to be as consistent as possible for anybody listening to it. Hey, thank you so much, Benji. I appreciate you. I really appreciate y'all's generosity, both Nick Tropolis and Benji. I really appreciate y'all's generosity as well. Would love you to hear how messed up mine sounds. I need to know. Nick Tropolis, that's what this live. Nick Tropolis, thank you for the hanging lights. I appreciate you so much. Thank you for your generosity. That's what this live is all about. We're not here trashing anyone. We're not here roasting anyone. We're not here tearing anyone down. This is about the music. It's about the nuances of it. It's about getting into the details of it. So it's a very analytical space. We're going to get into those details. So you don't have to worry about like, I'm not here to like hype anything. So I'm not here to like trash you to like, make it a better live or something. I'm also not here to hype you up so everyone feels good and they send more. Like I really just want to experience the music and get into the nuances of it and hopefully offer some feedback that's helpful to y'all. I appreciate you so much, Nathan. Yeah, I'll catch you tomorrow, man. Hopefully we'll be on a little bit earlier tomorrow because I know you're in the UK. So you should be able to get on a little bit like later afternoon, earlier evening. Hopefully that's a little bit easier for you as well, man. I appreciate you so much. Keep in mind, Nathan, I'm going to add 5 tiers as well since we saved it. So you are going to get a little bit of a boost in the live tomorrow as well. Hopefully that gets you in here a little bit higher on the board as well, man. Appreciate you so much. Okay, let's get into this next section here. I'm going to get, to me, that was one of the main things. Of course, man. Of course. I always want to make sure all are taken care of. Let's get into kind of the next chorus and last part here. This to me is where we need to dig in a little bit. Overall, it's a good, solid, clean mix on the production and your vocal. There's one little thing I'm listening for.
Now I see the seed she planted, blooming in my soul.
Smooth compression, vocals nice and even. Just a little harsh. Now you're going to start noticing those S's, right? Like now that I've pointed it out, you're going to start hearing like, yeah, now I'm hearing those S's every time that they cut in. Yeah, it's one of those like annoying things. It's a tiny detail, but it does impact the mix.
Mama took me to Jesus, showed me how to pray, taught me where my hope comes from. And
Really nice, like vocal articulation though, like good, very, very clean projection of your vocal. You're performing confidently, good emoting of the vocal. I feel the different dynamic ranges between the structure of what you're doing. You're doing a lot. You're doing a lot that I think is really, really well structured.
Mama took me to Jesus, showed me how to pray, taught me where my hope comes from, and who'll make a way. I'm standing here forgiven, my heart is finally free. It's 'cause Mama loved you.
You'll start to hear that kind of click. Okay, last thing, and then I can't see the username, but the line is closed. Thank you so much for tapping in today. I really, really appreciate you being here. But yeah, line is closed. We'll be live again tomorrow. So if you want to submit tomorrow. Make sure that you're following. We'll get you up on the board. I'm professionally trained. Makes sense. I'll stop right there. Makes sense. I'm professionally trained, so I overpronounce. I was told to articulate. Yeah, and that also to me, this is a very contemporary. Like I'm working with an opera artist right now. Strangely enough, I don't do a ton in that genre, but right now I'm working on some like synth. I do a lot of the 80s like synth stuff. So I love synths. I'm obsessed. I have a whole bunch of them. I love them. But anyways, in particular, I'm working on this like really powerful, like cinematic opera track right now for this artist. He's phenomenal classical artist. So it reminds me a little bit of that. And so for me, it's just making sure like everything's pointed in the same direction, right? Like I love a good projected articulate vocal that is doing everything that it's supposed to do as long as everything works together. I would love for this to feel a little warmer to listen to. The last little tip here, and then we'll move on to EK. Last little tip. I would love for this to sound a little bit warmer. Your vocal to me right now, all of this is like, again, you're doing a really good job on the vocal side. I think you have a great voice. There's parts where I would love a little more layering. I would love, even some choral support behind your vocal. So when you're changing melodies and kind of doing some ad libs, that like the foundation of the hook is always consistent. So you can float away a little bit more and has a little bit more vibrancy to it. There's some parts I'm like, that's stylistic, right? Like I would love to have a little bit more of a foundation to your vocal so that you can have a little more fun with when you change your melodics and kind of go into a different register of your vocal, like those like higher mixed voices. That's something I think would be fun to hear. But overall, on the overall mixing side, that's most of what we're talking about here. Where I would love this to be a little bit warmer. Your vocal is we already talked about the sibilance. I'm not going to hammer that home anymore. On the vocal side, it is very, very bright at the top. So it's compressed really well. It's very smooth. It's very bright at the top and a little bit thin sometimes. And then it doesn't have the layers to support it underneath it oftentimes. So then the vocal does just really sit in its own pocket. It's a little bit thin, a little bit bright. I would love to rebalance that a little bit and like warm up this whole mix and make it feel a little bit more like full and softer and warmer and, you know, a little bit more saturated and more musical. Right now, it's very like clean. Again, some of this is good, but clean, transparent, and very bright. But I'm missing a little bit of that kind of like warm blanket, full feel out of a lot of the mix and some of the production elements in here, and even in some of your vocal layering that I would love to hear. Like I mentioned before, it's a little bit harsh on the vocal side and a little bit bright, which is part of why it's a little bit harsh. So even just like softening some of those like 10K and above high shelves that are really, really prominent, cutting down on that a little bit, reintroducing a little bit more like 500 to 800 hertz, like warming up the mids of the vocal a little bit more, not high passing too high, and allowing more of like your natural low register to just soften some of this mix right now. And maybe even like, again, I mentioned the compression, your vocal is very, very, very compressed and it's very smooth. So I like that. The way that I'm hearing your vocal mix in here though, is more like you would hear like a modern like pop record or like almost like an EDM record. It's like the vocal range is like this, like as far as like dynamic range goes, where like it can't go above this ceiling, it's kind of squashed down, and it can't go below this ceiling. So it's kind of brought up right here. So the vocal is very, very tight in the middle of the mix. There's very little like natural dynamic range where your vocal has some breath to it. It's kind of squashed in the compression. So part of what I'm hearing in this mix that I would love to mold a little bit is just more of your natural vocal phrasing and more of your like natural vocal coming through without any harshness. So a little bit more dynamic range, loosen the threshold on your compression by just a hair so your vocal can kind of breathe a little bit more. What's up, Huey G? Good to see you, man. It can breathe a little bit more in the mix, so it doesn't feel so, it's like really, really tight and compartmentalized, but it feels like natural. It feels like you can sing softer in it, and it feels like there's more range to it and feels a little bit more natural. The vocal's not like, you know, artificially bright and harsh at the top end, but again, it sounds a little more transparent and warm and natural. When it feels over brightened or over compressed or over tuned or whatever it may be, you start to hear the processing happening more than I'm just like hearing you and hearing your voice. I'm hearing what's happening to the vocal sometimes. So that's where like sometimes adding things to the processing of the vocal can be a way that it actually sounds more transparent. And this way, because I hear that sibilance, right? Those S's and T's, I hear those so harsh, I'm hearing how bright the vocal sounds now, right? Now, if that S was a little bit more suppressed and the sibilance was a little bit more controlled, I might not actually hear as much the EQ that's happening on the vocal. So sometimes the way that you get a more like transparent sounding vocal is actually by adding certain things that take distractions out of the way so you don't even notice what's going on in the vocal structure. Let me hear the last 30 seconds here. We'll get into our last song. But yeah, those are some of the things that I would focus on. Just a little bit more of like a natural mix on the vocal, a little softer, a little bit warmer, a little bit more transparent, and maybe a little bit saturated. And then on the vocal side, just really taking care of the harshness so that nothing slices through the mix and limits in any way how much people experience the emotion behind your song. Because again, vocals are there. We don't got to question the vocals. You got a great voice, especially in this genre. You have a great voice for what you're doing here. So I want to make sure that shines without any limitations at all.
Jesus, and she brought his love.
There's like a little carry. I hate comparing vocals because then that doesn't matter. This doesn't matter at all. There's a little carry under and like that high mix with a little like nasal push right there. It reminds me of Carrie Underwood a little bit. It's got a really, really nice push. It's very like forward. It's very forward, very resonant. I love the way that it sounds. It's very, very nice to listen to.
Free. It's 'cause Mama loved Jesus, and she brought his love
Great vibrato.
to me. And she brought his love to me.
Beautiful voice. Y'all, show some love. Show some love to Tammy. Tammy, I appreciate you so much. Thank you for sending this in. Beautiful voice, beautiful song. You've helped so many artists for so long. Thanks for all that you've done. Huey G, I appreciate the love. I appreciate the love so much, man. Thank you for being along for the ride for so long. For those of you who don't know, we've been doing these consultations for like 3.5 years, almost 3.5 years that we've been doing these 30-minute consultations on live. I appreciate you so much, man. You've been around for a minute, man. Always showing love and support. Means more than you know, man. Means more than you know. Thank you so much, Tammy. I really appreciate you coming in with the song. Y'all, please show some love. This once again, this is Tammy's song, Mama Took Me to Jesus. The song will be coming out in 3 days, so make sure that you're following Tammy. I don't know if you have a release link or a pre-release link that people can tap into. So definitely guide people as to where they can find more of your stuff. If you have other places that they can find some of your work. Either way, make sure y'all are following Tammy here on TikTok as well. Show some love and support, all that good stuff. Last song. EK, let me know if you're in the building. Let me know if you're in the building. I believe, wait, okay, so this is actually under Damian Stone. Damian Stone, I see, sorry, I'm reading the email right now. Okay, so yeah, talk to me. Stage name in social media is now Damian Stone. Talk to me about that, if you feel like it. I've heard the other artist name that I know, the other name that we know. So now I'm hearing Damian Stone. So let's get into it. If there's anything you want to address about that and maybe some changes that you're in perspective on the way you're approaching your music, let me know, man. I'm excited to get into it. And this is the family. This is Damian Stone. This is called All Over My Room. Give me all the details. Give me the ins and outs of what has changed as far as the way you're building your music, the way that you're structuring this stuff, man. I'm excited to dive in. This is All Over My Room by Damian Stone. Let's get into it, man. And also remind that obviously I've heard your stuff before, but I want people to always know so they can become fans of what you do specifically. So let the people know what you do within the structure of your music. Mix My Cult, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you. Talk to people about the role that you play in your music as far as production and mix and things like that. It's been a while since I've heard some of your older stuff too, so I'm excited to get into some fresh stuff with a fresh name, man. Let's get into it. I need to send you a voice memo with all the answers to guys. Feel free. Shoot me a message on Instagram or drop it in the email or whatever you want to do, man. But anyways, let's get into it.
Wish I stayed the weekend. I'm feeling lost this Sunday night. I miss the mess we made in the kitchen. I'd lick the salt right out your hands.
Beautiful.
I know I got lost in the moment, like a feeling that I didn't choose. You got me staring at the ceiling, reminiscing lately. I can feel your world surrounding me, all over my room. Memories when you came around, all over my room. Yeah.
I like the production a lot.
You held me like you knew me for many years. Oh, walking my home, so I'll be waiting for you. A raging fire, all dressed up in white. I know it could all be over. I pretend to be blind to the signs. Just to feel your world surround.
Jesse, thanks for tapping in. I appreciate you being here.
All over my room.
This is a great community to be in, then. A lot of people that are early on.
Memories when you came around. All over my room. All over my room. Yeah. All over my room. All over my room.
Love those little like bass arpeggios right there. Y'all, show some love. Show some love. That is the family. Damian Stone in the building. Damian Stone, let's get into it, man. I don't have any music out. I don't know how or where to start. I'm trying to save up for a mic and a laptop. Beautiful. I mean, that's a great starting point. A great starting point. Simple microphone, a simple interface, and a laptop that can handle some processing. And then start with a simple DAW. Obviously, so much of this depends on budget. Start with something simple, and then just start building simple song structures, like one progression. Like in this case, most of the song is a C. Like most of the song is, it has a lot of interesting production. But most of this is like a very simple production. So even if you start on just like GarageBand or something, get you like a used Mac M1 or something like that. You can find one like for like $500, $600. Get you a used like MacBook Pro M1 with 16 gigs of RAM or something like that. Get you a cheap mic and an interface. And then just like start with GarageBand. Start really simple with GarageBand and just like adding in some loops of like an acoustic guitar that you like, or some some piano or Rose or something like that, and start learning to build song structure and make your own songs over that. You can always build more and build faster and add more to it, but start really simple. Learn how to kind of balance it and mix it. Watch some tutorials, and then once you feel like you've kind of outgrown GarageBand, you can always jump up to Logic. Logic is just GarageBand on steroids with a lot more sounds and a lot more control and routing. So you can always start really, really simple. Don't feel like you need to overwhelm yourself and be like, the only way I'm going to make it is if I buy $1,000 worth of stuff and I go crazy and I dive in the deep end. Feel free to start really, really simple. You can always add more. You can always pay other professionals. You can always pay producers and session musicians and engineers to take care of parts that you just don't feel passionate about addressing. But yeah, I would just start simple, start small, and build from there. I think most people start way too deep. They start from like, I know nothing about what's going on, to like all of a sudden following a bunch of like TikTok engineers that are like trying to teach them like parallel compression and whatever, like side chaining your saturation over to the, like all of this stuff can just get so overwhelming. We're like, I don't even know how an EQ works. So learn the basics, start really, really simple with some simple gear, and you'll be up and running in no time. I've no doubt about it. Okay. Damian Stone. Let's get into it. Let's run it from the top, man. A couple small little details I want to get into, but it's a great song. I love your voice. I love your production structure here. It sounds fantastic. Let's run it from the top. Closing out right here, y'all. Right off the bat. First little note right here. I would love to open up your vocals. Your production, I think, sounds really, really nice. It's a really cool structure. I like a lot about a lot of the things that I'm hearing. One of the things that I would love to hear in your vocal is opening up the panning of some of your layers. Right now, most of your vocal and vocal ambiance is coming at us from the same direction. So lead, can barely hear you. Andrew, turn up your phone. Turn up your phone. Unless the audio just cut out for some reason, but it's been the same the whole life. Turn up your phone. It's on max. Swipe out and swipe back. It's not. It's a your phone problem for whatever reason. Unless TikTok's glitching or something like that. Check. Because it's been loud the whole live. Okay. Anyways, as long as Damian can hear me, as long as Damian gets what's going on here, and let me see if I have anything else in here too. Let me get back to the file. Boom. Okay, perfect. I was like, as long as you can hear me, we're about to hop off of here anyways. Okay, so production structure, I really like. You have, again, this is in G major, so you have a lot of these, like there's really nice arpeggios in some of these, tones that you have lower, like your bass tones, I think are really, really nice. Your production sounds really, really clean and nice. There's some things you can do later on to polish, but vocal structure is what I want to get into. So as far as vocal structure goes, your lead vocal and your harmonies and the ambiance of all of those layers are coming at us right down the middle. So you have some like stereo delays, but they're kind of hitting in mono, right? So you have some stereo delays or mono delays on your vocal, and reverbs and stuff like that are all kind of coming at you right down the middle, as well as your layers hitting in that same place. I would love to open that up, right? Even like right off the bat, everything kind of hits in mono in the same place. It makes the mix feel a little bit more constrained. It feels a little smaller than I would love for it to feel. I would love to get some of these like third note harmonies, like third and fifth note harmonies outside. Even it doesn't have to be like super, super wide, like really modern pop, but even just like 50 to 75% to the outside. The perception of loudness will be higher if you do that. So I'd maybe pull down the volume on those layers a little bit once you do this, but I would love to just get them out of the way of this lead vocal. So for one, you maintain better clarity and your phrasing for your lead vocal in mono. and better separation and width in the rest of the mix. So I can hear these vocal layers clearly, hear what they're doing, and the mix feels broader, feels bigger, feels wider. Right now, there's a lot that because a lot of your percussion is in mono, your vocal and all of its layers and all of its ambience. Most of this mix is kind of happening right here with a couple other small elements that are a bit wider. Most of the production, like I said, is pretty good, but I want to open up the vocal a little bit here. Like that filtered acoustic is already pretty wide. It's a nice, chorus, like double right there. That's good.
Wish I stayed the weekend.
Beautiful lead
I'm
voice.
feeling lost this Sunday night.
Like this, like that lead vocal is really, 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 really nice. It's so warm. It's very inviting to listen to. Sounds beautiful. Sounds beautiful. Sounds beautiful.
Lost this Sunday night. I missed the mess we made in the kitchen. I'd lick the salt right out your hands. I know I got lost in the moment, like a feeling that I did.
Strings are really nice too. I mean, like I said, there's a lot about this production that I'm really enjoying, and a lot about the lead vocal too. I'm really, really enjoying. It sounds great.
Didn't choose. You got me staring at the ceiling, reminiscing lately. I can feel.
So even here, big, I can't talk, y'all. Big, broad pads that are opening up the whole outside of this mix, right? It feels very, very wide, very vibrant, really warm. And then that vocal constraint to the middle. What I would love to hear is like those harmonies nice and wide, right? I can feel, and like the third note and fifth note harmonies that you have stacked in there as well. Just start to position them out. If there's any duplications there, it might be collapsing to mono if you already have them panned out. And for some reason, it feels like it's collapsing to mono. It might be because of some duplications. But if you really only have these towards the middle, then start to open up those harmonies to the left and to the right and just watch this mix kind of come alive. When those vocals enter the mix, it won't just be that you hear the harmonies happen. You'll feel the energy shift in the mix when those moments happen. It's one of the very few things I want to hear in this mix. Most of the rest of this I think sounds fantastic, but that to me is like a big aspect of like why this mix to me feels a little bit suppressed. Is it never quite expands in the way that I want it to, especially vocally. And there's a lot of potential to do that here because you have some beautiful layering here. You have an awesome voice, man. So I would love to open this up a little bit more.
Your world surrounding me, all over my room. Memories when you came around, all over my room. Yeah, it's in the way you held me, like you knew me for many years. Oh, walking my home, so I'll be waiting for you.
Probably come down just a hair on the shaker right now again because I want to get a little bit more action out of the layers that you have in there, which are coming in beautifully with the rest of the guitars and bass. I think sounds awesome. Shakers are just, once they come in, again, because there's no other competition for the vocals. If your vocal layers are wide, that helps because it competes in the mix. But since there's really no wider vocal layers there to help it compete, especially in the outside of the mix, that shaker's filling all of that voice. I find my brain kind of directing its attention towards where like the shaker and hats and some other stuff are hitting, as opposed to listening to the vocal because it doesn't have enough support. So maybe bring the shakers back by 2 or 3 dB, open up those vocal layers right there. I also wouldn't mind, depending on the headroom that you have and depending on how much room you have to kind of build this up, I wouldn't mind if that lead vocal was a little bit more prominent in the mix, like maybe forward another 2 or 3 dB as well. What you might want to do as well, and you might already have some of this, but just as a kind of a loose direction of on your instrument bus, like send all of your instrumentation to a bus. At least maybe not percussion, like all of your string instrumentation, like strings, guitars, bass, maybe synths. Send all of those like chordal synths and instruments to a bus, to an instrument bus, and then on that instrument bus have a mid-side EQ on there and pull out some of where the fundamental frequencies of the vocal are only in the center channel where that lead vocal sits, right? Because again, right now there's a lot of energy surrounding that vocal and it doesn't have the layers to support it yet. I think it will soon, hopefully. But it's hard for that vocal to compete with like strings and shakers and guitars and synths and stuff like that. Even in a really soft, warm mix like this, it can still be difficult because your vocal is really airy, it's breathy, and it's really soft, which I love, but it can be difficult to compete just with the power of the rest of the production. So what I would probably do is just in the background, on that instrument bus, have a mid-side EQ where between, like let's say like 600 hertz to 1200 hertz, like 600 to 1000 hertz, where a lot of the fundamental frequency of the vocal lies. Carve some of that space only in the mid channel. That way, in mono, in the center right there, you can carve out only the frequency space where the vocal lies on the instrumentation and leave the outside. Now, what's up, Pcash? Good to see you, man. Now, if you want to introduce more of the energy back in the mix, I would go to the side channel and reintroduce that same 600 to 1200 hertz in the side channels, right? So you're actually going to like pull out a pocket for the vocal to sit in the middle of the mix in mono and reintroduce that life to the side channel so that the mix of the production and your instrumentation kind of wraps around the vocal, but it doesn't interrupt it. That's one easy way. This is great for 2 tracks, but this is also a really easy way to get that vocal to just like settle into the production, but it has its own pocket to live in the middle of the mix. Again, the production will kind of wrap around this vocal because you're pulling out of the mid channel, introducing that same frequency or maybe a higher frequency into the side channel. It'll make the guitars and synths and bass and everything feel like wide and really vibrant, while perfect clarity and separation and distinction in the middle of the mix. So that's one easy, very simple way to do that I think would be helpful. But I also, after you try a couple things, you clarify your vocal layers, you balance a couple things in the mix. If you still feel like you need a little bit of life, give that vocal just an edge. Give it like 2 dB, 2 or 3 dB to give it some push, give it a little bit of some elevation in the mix right there, just so it sits right on the top of the production that you have. But I'm loving so much of what I hear. Let me get into this last section of the song. Damian Stone, it's a great track, man. It's a great track. I think you're doing an amazing, amazing job. It's so good to hear your voice.
Just to feel your world surrounding me, all over my room. Memory.
Like here especially, where a lot of what I'm hearing, because there's not a lot of good clarity of like the progression. Dun, 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 dun. Like it's hard to hear like where that progression's actually flowing off of like the 5-6-4 at the low end right there. There's not a lot of separation down there because all I'm kind of hearing is the shaker at the top and some of the reverb from the vocals and stuff like that. So just make sure that, again, we're looking for like separation and clarity in the mix so the listener can easily pick up on and hear what's happening in the production. It's kind of guided through the song in a way that feels a little bit cleaner, a little bit more open. But yeah, the sonically, stylistically, what you're doing in the song, I think is fantastic. I think it's so good. There's like a couple little polished things. It's a great track, man.
When you came around, all over my,
Beautiful voice.
all over my room.
I'm obsessed with that low end.
All over my room, yeah. All over my room.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
All over my room.
So good, man. So good, so good. Y'all, please show some love to Damian Stone in the chat. That's the family right there. Damian Stone, appreciate you so much, man. I'm so excited to hear kind of what's happening in your journey and what's happening within the structure of your music, man. This is a beautiful song. It's structured really, really, really well. It's produced very well. It's performed beautifully. I feel the song. The song is like a warm blanket. I absolutely love what I'm hearing, man. It's so good. It's so good. Your voice is like butter. It's so smooth. Y'all, please show some love to the family. Everybody here in the chat, please go follow Damian Stone. That's the family right there, man. Always love and appreciate what you're doing, man. Excited for this next phase, this next step in the journey for you, man. Y'all, thank y'all so much for hopping into the stream today. We are going to be live again tomorrow afternoon. So if you got music, you got revisions, you're fresh here, and you would like to submit your music, definitely hop in tomorrow. We're going to open up the lines again in the early afternoon. Hopefully get to like 8 to 10 songs or so tomorrow. A little bit of a longer stream ideally. For those of you who have never been here before, really quick spiel before we hop off the live stream. My name is Torvik. I'm a full-time audio engineer, producer, and session musician. That is what I do for a living. I've done that for 14 plus years. If you would ever be interested in any of those services, whether it is session work, a lot of the session work that I do, which is a lot of my background, is keys, hardware, analog synths, stuff like that. I got a bunch of them in here. That's a lot of what I do. If you're ever interested in like analog synths, keys, live drums, acoustic, electric bass, guitars, vocals, you want want a full-scale producer, mixing and mastering engineer. That is what I do full-time. So definitely shoot me a message on Instagram or on TikTok. I'll try to get to it as soon as I can. Sometimes it's hard to get to messages, but I do my best, especially if it's a request. Sometimes I forget the request exists. But I promise I do my best, even if it's not very good. I'll do my best to get back to it as soon as I possibly can. I love and appreciate y'all so much. Y'all have an amazing rest of your evening, and we'll see y'all very, very soon. Hopefully tomorrow. Peace.